In his words, a good day. And President Bush pays homage to Ronald Reagan at a time when he might use some tips from the conservative icon. We're following President Bush and two big burdens on the White House right now: the CIA leak probe and the Harriet Miers nomination. I'm Wolf Blitzer. You're in the Situation Room. The worse Hurricane Wilma gets for Mexico, the better maybe it might be for Florida. The massive storm now lashing resorts in Cancun and Cozumel and expected to stall somewhat. So Wilma may be slower and weaker when it actually moves toward Florida. This hour we'll go live to the National Hurricane Center for the newest forecast. But let's check in right now with the CNN Hurricane Center with our severe weather expert, Chad Myers. Bad for Mexico, might be good for Florida. Explain a little bit more why that could happen.
Wolf, when a hurricane sits over water, it can grow, especially the warm water that is here, the Western Caribbean. But as the storm now moves over land, it actually is going to lose its gas. It's going to lose its fuel to get stronger. So it is going to weaken as it hits this little tip of the Yucatan Peninsula. Unfortunately, this is the absolute worst case scenario for Cancun. Here is Cancun right over here. I got the Western Caribbean here for you. The storm itself driving itself right over Cozumel, the northern and the most dangerous part of the eye wall, right over the hotel zone right now. The weather going down as far as it's going to go in Cancun in about 20 minutes to an hour. This is where the northern eye wall makes landfall right at Cancun with wind speeds of 130 to 140 miles per hour. The longer it stays over land, the more those numbers go down, maybe to 100 miles per hour before it gets back into the Gulf of Mexico. This is actually a radar picture from the Cancun radar right before it went out. It's now out of service. This is 2 hours ago, but this is the northern part of the eye wall then. Now this northern part of the eye wall is right over Cancun. Just kind of push this ahead 2 hours at about 5 miles per hour. The storm itself right over Cancun, the most dangerous part, the heaviest winds, and now the most damage taking place right there, right over that resort town of Cancun.
All right, Chad, stand by for a moment. Susan Candiotti is in Cancun. She's joining us on the phone. Chad, I want you to help us debrief Susan on what's going on where she is right now. Susan, it's getting worse, I assume.
Chad, I don't doubt it, and Wolf. We just crossed almost 135 miles per hour where we are, and this is one of the seaside hotels bordering the Gulf. I mean, the palm trees are just bent over sideways. You cannot see the surf right now. It is just blistering. This wind that is blowing here. A good thing, a very good thing, that they moved out the hotel guests to the downtown area. We hope they are making out all right. Hotels there are doubling as shelters. They've got people living in ballrooms. We did take a ride about an hour ago out on the street. Some of the roads are impassable. There is debris in the street. I did not see any structural damage, but I am seeing some broken windows in hotels here. As a matter of fact, despite the fact that they are boarded up, skyroof has crashed through at this particular hotel, and there is debris crashing to the floor. Some of the glass-walled foyer is also gone. They suffered some of the same kind of damage from Emily back in July, but it is not as strong a storm as Wilma is. Yes?
Susan, I want Chad to ask you a question or two to get a better sense of what's going on there. Chad?
Please, Susan, tell me where you are. Are you on the hotel zone, or are you in the old part of downtown?
We're in a hotel right on the Gulf side. We are not downtown, so we're getting the brunt of it here as the waves are crashing the shore. And I mean, they are eating away, needless to say, the erosion. The waves are crashing over onto what would have been the patio and the pool area right up to where the lobby is. And we are about 20 feet, according to the hotel manager, above sea level here.
Have you seen any water wash completely over the island and into the bay behind you?
you know, some of the roads are impassable. I have not been out in the last hour, and I tell you, it has nuisance and sin. So by now, that might have happened. But certainly there is standing and deep water on some of these roads that are usually a very busy road, a four-lane road that runs the length of Cancun up and down where this where the island is, where the luxury hotels are located.
All right, Susan, we're going to get back to you. Be careful over there. Susan Candiati is our reporter in Cancun right now. Chad, we're going to get back to you very soon as well. And remember, we're standing by this hour to hear from the National Hurricane Center. Max Mayfield will update us on the path of Hurricane Wilma, what happens after it gets through, rips through this area of the Yucatan, Cancun, Cozumel, and heads into the Gulf of Mexico, makes a right turn toward Florida. They're getting new information. We'll bring that news conference with Max Mayfield live to you. That's coming up later this hour. Other important news we're watching, including an important political story. Congressman Tom DeLay's first day in court after his indictment on conspiracy and money laundering charges. The former House Majority Leader, still one of the nation's most powerful Republicans, is touting his appearance today as a success. CNN's Sean Calebs is joining us from outside the courthouse in Austin, Texas, with an update on what happened. Sean?
Indeed, one of the most powerful men in politics in the U.S., really, here in the courtroom in Travis County, here in the heart of Austin, and really DeLay's attorney firing the first salvo in this case. The attorney wants the judge in this case to step aside, and during what will be a highly publicized trial, he wants to see somebody else on the bench.
Why is this man smiling? This while facing 2 criminal indictments in a Texas court.
You may be surprised to hear this from me today, but I find this is a very good day. For the first time in over 3 years, I was provided the opportunity to go before a court and refute these baseless charges.
Charges which former House Majority Leader Tom DeLay says are wrong and politically motivated.
This is what Ronnie Earl wanted.
DeLay's attorney, Dick DeGuerin, spent the brief hearing pursuing his claim that his client is the victim of pure politics. He filed a motion to have the judge, Bob Perkins, remove himself from the case, a request a senior judge will rule on. In Texas, judges run for office. Judge Perkins ran as a Democrat. DeLay's lawyer points out that the judge donated money to presidential candidate John Kerry, the Democratic National Committee, and $200 to MoveOn.org, an organization DeLay's attorney says is so hostile to his client, it's selling T-shirts emblazoned with DeLay's mugshot. MoveOn denies that. Indeed, there's no sign of such a T-shirt on its website, although MoveOn did lobby to have DeLay removed from his leadership position.
The judge has every right to be a Democrat or a Republican. That's not what it's about. It's about Judge Perkins having actively supported people who are in opposition to Congressman DeLay.
DeLay is charged with money laundering and conspiracy. The charges state that a political action committee formed by DeLay and 2 others illegally funneled money from corporations to Republican candidates running for state offices. Prosecutor Ronnie Earl has been investigating the allegations for 3 years. He wants Judge Perkins to remain on the case.
The judge has a record of fairness to all who come before his bench. And again, membership in a political party does not determine the quality of justice in this country.
We also got a bit of a clarification from DeGuerin, DeLay's attorney, a short while ago. He says he made an error in court and at the news conference, and he didn't mean to say MoveOn.org is selling the T-shirts, but rather a couple of organizations that were funded by MoveOn.org. Well, we contacted one of those organizations. They say no T-shirts have been printed yet, no money collected. They are still considering whether to print any T-shirts. Just a pretty good idea of perhaps the give and take we can expect in the weeks to come as this trial plays out. Well, back to you.
Thanks very much, Sean Caleb's reporting for us. Back here in Washington, a bomb scare on Capitol Hill today. Police blew up a suspicious package in a car parked not far from the Capitol building. Our congressional correspondent, Ed Henry, joining us now with details. It was very dramatic for the hours it was going on.
That's right, Wolf. Capitol Hill was on high alert for several hours, starting at about 10:50 a.m. Eastern Time. That's when 2 white males showed up in a 2005 gray Chevy Impala. The driver of that vehicle, according to 2 sources, basically told the Capitol Police just a couple of blocks from the Capitol that he had a bomb in the car, Capitol Police, as you mentioned, exploded these suspicious packages at about 1:10 p.m. Eastern Time. We have confirmed at CNN that, in fact, it was more than one package. It was several packages, in fact. And then the two men were brought in for questioning by the Capitol Police and the FBI. Now, we've also just confirmed some other new details. Two officials telling CNN, in fact, that the driver of this vehicle started out in Mexico, then flew to Fort Myers, Florida. That's why this Impala was rented. It was a rented vehicle with Florida plates. We're also now told that the driver picked up a hitchhiker in Daytona Beach, Florida. That was the second white male in the car. He was headed for Buffalo, New York. And a short while ago, CNN producer Nicole Jackson caught up with the man who claims to be the hitchhiker emerging from Capitol Police headquarters here on Capitol Hill. He identified himself as Steve Stovall, and he said that when the duo reached Washington, the driver started, in his words, wigging out. Take a listen.
What happened?
I have no idea, man. This dude's talking about like there's people chasing him. I know he's freaked out, man. He's weirded out. Dude's weirded out.
Now, this hitchhiker went on to tell CNN that the driver started claiming that he was best friends with President Bush. He also reportedly started rambling and said that Spider-Man was out to get him. Then at some point, the driver approached Capitol Police officers, said he had these packages, that he had a bomb. That's when they obviously approached the scene. They shut off several streets, but the United States Capitol and their office buildings were never shut down. It was relatively calm, although tense for sure. Capitol Police and the FBI still investigating the details, Wolf.
Well, was there a bomb?
They have not commented on that. The Capitol Police will not comment on whether or not it was a bomb. They will basically just say that they were able to interrupt whatever device was there, but they are not confirming whether or not it was a bomb, Wolf.
All right, thanks very much. Ed Henry reporting for us from Capitol Hill. Let's go back to New York. Jack Cafferty with another chance to get some email from you. Never dull in Washington either, Jack.
It's interesting. It looked like Cato Kalin was the hitchhiker there.
He looked a little bit like him, yeah, the blonde hair, yeah.
Sounded a little like him, too, just sort of mumbling his part, looking down at the ground, not real coherent. Reminds me of the interviews they did during the origin. And then at the Tom DeLay thing over there in Austin, his lawyers should get A's for his work today. They managed to put the judge on trial. No talk about the criminal behavior that Tom DeLay is accused of, but rather the judge donated some money to a Democratic cause, so we got to get a different judge. Pretty amazing. Check out this list, Wolf. Possible indictments in the CIA leak case. The New York Times reports that Karl Rove and Scooter Libby have been advised that they could be in, quote, serious legal jeopardy, unquote. Former House Majority Leader Tom DeLay arrested, hauled into court. He's accused of conspiracy and money laundering. Senate Majority Leader Bill Frist under investigation by the SEC and the Justice Department for possible insider stock trading. The Harriet Miers Supreme Court nomination, looking to be in more trouble with every passing day. FEMA, where emails now indicate an aide to former Director Mike Brown said her boss needed more time to eat his dinner during the Katrina aftermath. Oh, yeah, and then there's that pesky war in Iraq, the record low approval ratings for the president, the deficits, and on and on and on. Here's the question. Could things get any worse for the Republican Party? Cafferty File, CNN.com. Talk to you in a half hour.
If Patrick Fitzgerald, the special prosecutor, indicts someone next week, the answer is?
Yeah.
I think so. All right, Jack, thanks very much. Sure. Here in the Situation Room, we're constantly tracking Hurricane Wilma. Still ahead this hour, we'll get an up-to-date forecast from the National Hurricane Center. A new forecast about to come out. We'll carry it live. That's coming up this hour. Also, President Bush embracing the Reagan legacy. Can he borrow from the late president's playbook and bounce back from all the controversy? And Tom DeLay's courtroom drama. Did the indicted congressman seem overconfident, or did he play it just right? A DeLay strategy session. All that coming up. You're in the Situation Room.
New Promise Buttery Spread helps maintain a healthy heart when eaten instead of butter or margarine. And now it's rich with heart health essentials like omega-3 and vitamins B6 and 12. Plus, there's no trans fat and lots of creamy, buttery taste. In fact, it's our healthiest and tastiest buttery spread yet. No wonder hearts are beating louder. New Promise Buttery Spread, taking your health to heart.
Where does reality end and pure vision begin?
It all starts with a Pioneer plasma display, offering incredibly high contrast for a nearly 3D picture. Pure vision. Only from Pioneer.
It's the time of the season when love runs high in this time.
Moving your 401ks to Fidelity is groovy. Our retirement specialists make it so easy, they'll even do most of the paperwork. You dig? Call 1-800-FIDELITY. Smart move.
2 journalists, 2 hours, 2 ways to see the story. Every night at 10, Newsnight. Aaron Brown, Anderson Cooper, CNN Tonight, 10 Eastern.
No matter where you are or where you want to go in Oregon or anywhere in the USA, you deserve a simple health care plan that's there when you need it. You deserve Health Net Options Plus, featuring comprehensive coverage, including alternative care options. Choose any Medicare physician across the nation without a referral for only $53 a month. It really is that simple. Call now at 1-800-822-7698 and discover the flexibility of Health Net Options Plus. 1-800-822-7698.
Moving is hard. Having your cable installed is easy. Before you move, call Comcast and we'll get you connected to your new cable company. Moving is hard. Having your cable installed is easy. Call Comcast and learn how to get a valuable offer from Lowe's just for movers.
When the weather is the news, trust CNN. It's essential.
Just a reminder, we're standing by to hear from Max Mayfield, the director of the National Hurricane Center in Miami. He's got a new forecast, a new update on Hurricane Wilma, where it's heading, when it will hit Florida, assuming it's still going to be hitting Florida. We're standing by for that live news conference. His announcement will go there live as soon as it starts. In the meantime, other news we're following in Southern California. President Bush is helping to open a new exhibit at the Ronald Reagan Library, and he may be hoping to borrow some of the late president's political Teflon, as they used to call it, his famous ability to prevent controversy from sticking to him. Our White House correspondent Dana Bash is following Mr. Bush's travels. She's joining us now live. Dana?
Well, Wolf, there's no question President Bush would probably love to channel many of the qualities Ronald Reagan was known for, but you're right. Right about now, Teflon tops the list.
At the Reagan Library, a nostalgic tribute to the Kipper.
We believe, as President Ronald Reagan did, that freedom is one of the deepest and noblest aspirations of the human spirit.
The irony here, a lesson fellow Republicans learned from Reagan is causing one of this president's many headaches. Don't trust Supreme Court picks with thin records. The White House tried to relaunch Harriet Meyer's embattled nomination this week by talking up her resume instead of her religion. But several GOP sources tell CNN her meetings with key senators looking for evidence she grasps complex constitutional issues did not go well, producing lukewarm statements like this.
But it certainly isn't determinative in terms of where I may end up coming down on this.
One longtime Bush family friend compared picking the unknown Myers to putting Dan Quayle on the ticket, a decision by an insulated staff who didn't contemplate how hard it would be to sell. But privately, some Bush aides admit a key problem lies in their own ill-prepared, even clumsy sales plan.
I think it's been a chaotic process, very candidly, as to what has happened. We'd actually like to know what the heck is going on.
An exasperated Bush source said this: no one is in charge. Top aides are overwhelmed with monumental troubles, from hurricane missteps to the war in Iraq to a criminal investigation. And some Republicans say the president's sinking approval means he's lost his leverage. Simmering frustration is now bubbling over.
Well, I think this White House, unfortunately, has come across as very arrogant. And so they have a lot of people that are pretty angry at him.
It's taking a toll inside the White House. A former senior Bush official told CNN the circle around the president is too small, top aides have been in their jobs too long, and they're tired. And the biggest source of anxiety is something they cannot control, whether Karl Rove or any other key figures will soon be indicted.
And there is no question, despite the fact that publicly Bush aides say that they are going about their business, it's business as usual here at the White House, there is deep concern. They are definitely sort of in a state of suspended animation, Wolf. I talked to one Bush source who said right now it's not a very happy place to be here at the White House.
Dana Bash at the White House. Thank you, Dana, very much. The former presidential advisor, David Gergen, knows plenty about the Reagan legacy. He knows what it's like to be in a White House in crisis. He served 4 U.S. presidents. He's joining us now from Harvard. David, thanks very much. It must be very, very uncomfortable, but give us your sense. What are White House officials going through during these days, presumably before possible indictments?
It's gut check time at the White House, Wolf. This is a time when people do go to the meetings, they go through the paces, they claim they're not distracted, but they're only pretending. Of course, all the conversations outside their regular substance are about what do you think is going to happen, how do you think is going to handle it, how's the old man doing, how's Mrs. Bush doing. There are all those kind of questions, but in this White House, with so many things coming together, there is obviously a direct connection between the threat of this investigation and the threat of indictments and the troubles they're having with the Harriet Miers nomination and their inability to handle that. Their distraction with the indictments is prompting them to be unable to handle the nomination, and that's why it's so clumsy.
And I've been told by officials from White House officials that many of them are even afraid to discuss this amongst themselves privately behind closed doors for fear of being subpoenaed and asked about any conversations they might have had. So it sort of hovers over a room, but people can't even talk about it.
Well, they can and they can't. I mean, they can talk about what's in the papers. They can tell each other, what's in the public realm, but they can't exchange inside information. This is a time when you begin to think, do I need a lawyer? That's a very unhealthy place to be in any White House. It began to spread across the Clinton White House at one point. Everybody had to have his or her own lawyer. It's a really uncomfortable feeling when you've got to go out and get a lawyer.
Our latest, the CNN USA Today Gallup poll that came out this week shows the president's job approval numbers at only 39% approve at the way he's handling his job, 58% disapprove, a significant drop from 45% at the end of September. The president says it's just background chatter. He's focused. He's doing his job. But what you're saying is it's hard under these circumstances.
It's not only hard; it's impossible. And I think that there's clear evidence that their distraction is leading to all sorts of other problems. Now the issue becomes, Wolf, in terms of borrowing Reagan's magic, as Dana's story raised that question. It's important to remember that Ronald Reagan did have a second-term crisis. It was the Iran-Contra scandal. It sent his ratings down into the 30s. In fact, there was even talk of impeachment, but yet he recovered. And I think the lesson for the Bush people is not how do you get Reagan's magic to communicate well, but how do you look back upon his recovery process, because it was absolutely remarkable. First and foremost, Wolf, he recognized reality. He accepted he'd made mistakes, and he said so. And he had his people say so. Then he made the entire administration, everything up there, cooperated with Capitol Hill totally. But very importantly, he cleaned house. He brought in a new team. As you'll recall, he brought in Howard Baker, Ken Duberstein, Colin Powell, fresh blood, and they had a fresh infusion of effort. They turned the page. In the second part of his second term, he actually recovered. So when he left office, he had some of the highest ratings of any president in recent years, and there was a lot of nostalgia for him. So it's possible for President Bush. But when you talk to people around Bush, they say, I don't think he's going to change, that he's bitter, and the people around him are bitter. Now, they've got to deal with that. And I think for the country's sake, it's important to have a president who's not disabled for 3 years. There are some important things, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, are some things we need to do in Washington in the next 3 years in which the two parties need to work together. So I think for the country's sake, there's a lot riding on the next few weeks.
Good advice from David Gergen, a man who knows the White House well. I remember when President Clinton brought you into the White House when he was in trouble. You gave him good advice then. You're giving our viewers good advice right now. Thanks very much, David.
Thank you.
There's a new development coming into CNN. Let's immediately go to the CNN Center. Our Zane Vergie is standing by with details. Zane, what's going on?
Wolf, scaffolding has collapsed at Fenway Park in Boston. We're hearing that nobody has been hurt. We want to show you some live pictures here, though. The Associated Press is giving us more details about this. Workers have escaped injury at Fenway Park after a temporary scaffolding that you see here has utterly collapsed and fallen on some of the seats there in this stadium. It was set up behind home plate, essentially for the demolition of the 406 club there. It fell around mid-afternoon, and one of the sections, as you can tell from these pictures, has just completely collapsed in a heap. Red Sox and fire officials quoted by the Associated Press say that no one has been hurt. Those are all the details we have, and fire officials are telling us that the cause of this accident is unknown. Wolf?
All right, dramatic picture indeed. Thanks very much, Zane. We'll get back with you. Still ahead, from your hurricane headquarters, the threat from Wilma. We'll get a live update from Mexico. It's now taking a pounding from the storm. We'll also get the latest forecast on when and where Florida will be hit. Also ahead, new jabs in Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger's tiff with President Bush. You're in the Situation Room.
Congress chartered Freddie Mac 35 years ago to make mortgage money available so lenders can make more home loans. Our mission? Help keep mortgage rates stable and low. It's working. Freddie Mac has helped over 44 million families own their own home. It's the most important investment millions of Americans ever make. Some people call it a nest egg. Most people just call it home. Freddie Mac. We make home possible.
Every one of your senses has been made a priority. The new 6-speed all-wheel drive IS from Lexus.
Eat steak, eat a big old steer. Eat steak, we have one deer. Eat beef, it's a mighty good food. It's a grade A meal, and I'm in the mood. Eat steak, eat a big old steer.
Objective financial advice. It's right for any nest egg, regardless of size. A.G. Edwards. For 118 years, fully invested in our clients.
What if everyone just settled for average? What if nobody raised the bar? What if everyone decided to let someone else figure it out? By investing in Russia's oil and natural gas reserves, the world's second largest, ConocoPhillips is helping ensure global energy production for decades to come. Turning what ifs into what's next is just another way we elevate.
Florida residents are on alert for a delayed but still potentially disastrous encounter with Hurricane Wilma. An evacuation order now in effect for part of the Gulf Coast town of Naples and on Marco Island. Let's get an update on what Wilma is up to, where it's heading next. Our severe weather expert, Chad Beyer, standing by at CNN Hurricane Headquarters. What is the latest, Chad?
The latest is it's just pounding Cancun right now. The latest wind at 97 miles per hour at the airport, and I suspect, and that's a little bit farther inland. That's not even on the shore. That's not in the hotel zone where that wind is coming straight off the ocean and just pounding right into Cancun at this hour. There's the town, the resort of Cancun. This is Cozumel right here, and watch the eye of the storm go right over Cozumel. Right now, Cozumel, the weather's probably pretty good. You could look outside and see the sky. You are actually in the eye of the storm. Do not go outside because the other side of the eye is still to come. It may be an hour or so, but it's still to come. Hurricane Hunter aircraft, Wolf, in the storm right now. As they flew across from one side of the eye to the other, they encountered 137 mile per hour winds here. They got to the center, the winds went to 8 miles per hour, and then they flew into the other side, and the winds were coming from the other direction at 129. Still a very dangerous Category 4, possibly down to a Category 3 later tonight, and then turning toward the U.S. We'll have the latest, though, from the Hurricane Center as soon as that 5 o'clock update comes available.
Thanks very much, Chad. We'll get back with you. Let's check in with Jackie Schechter. She's checking the hurricane situation online. What are you picking up, Jackie?
Well, no vacation in Cancun and Cozumel, but they're still hanging out in the bars in Key West. We wanted to keep an eye out for the webcams because we'll see how this progresses as the hurricane gets closer. First to Sloppy Joe's, you can see people still hanging out. This from the Hog's Breast Saloon. You can see on the raw bar there, it's a little sign. It says life is still in Key West. And if you go to the other angle, you can see it's raining, but people are still hanging out in the bar. So we'll keep an eye on these webcams in Key West, let you know how they progress as the storm gets closer. Wolf.
All right, Jackie, thanks very much. Let's go back to the CNN Center. Zane Burgee in Atlanta with a closer look at other stories making news. Zane?
Wolf, Britain's confirmed a case of avian flu within its borders. In a statement today, the chief British veterinary officer said a parrot imported from Suriname died in quarantine and has tested positive for the virus. And the parrot was among 148 birds that arrived in Britain last month. And the Associated Press is also reporting this hour that there's been a case of bird flu confirmed in yet another European country, this time Croatia. The shooting death of Iraqi attorney Sadoun al-Janabi has the other lawyers in Saddam Hussein's trial calling either for a delay that the trial move out of Iraq. Jabari's body was found dumped near a Baghdad mosque yesterday, hours after his abduction. He'd been shot twice in the head and there were signs of torture. Jabari represented one of Saddam's 7 co-defendants. The number of U.S. military deaths since the Iraq War began is nearing 2,000. 4 more U.S. service members were killed yesterday in insurgent attacks in Anbar province. 3 Marines died when a bomb hit their patrol about 25 miles west of Baghdad. In the northwestern town of Hit, an American soldier was killed in a mortar or in a rocket attack. President Bush calls the United Nations report linking Syrian and Lebanese officials in the assassination of former Lebanese Prime Minister Rafik Hariri disturbing. Hariri and 22 other people died in a Beirut bomb blast in February. The report was released today. The report itself lists the names of the men accused of plotting the attack. Buckingham Palace says Prince William will follow younger brother Harry into the army. The 23-year-old royal, who's second in line to the British throne, has been accepted at Sandhurst, which is an elite military academy. Just ahead here on the Situation Room, the threat to Florida from Hurricane Wilma. Where will it hit? How bad will it be? We're waiting to hear from National Hurricane Center Director Max Mayfield. We're going to carry his briefing live. And indicted Congressman Tom DeLay turns a day in court into a smiling photo op. His secret weapon just ahead. You're in the Situation Room.
Oh, it's not a birthday cake, that's a fire hazard.
Well, it's tough hitting the half-century mark.
Oh, I'll tell you a good thing, though. Oh, no, please don't. No. The good thing is reaching a point where the kids are all set, and the plans are made, and suddenly, finally, not having to spend every waking moment worrying so much about money.
Right, here.
You're the Morgan Stanley guy. Let's hear from the birthday boy.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
When you work with a Morgan Stanley financial advisor, you get someone unusually devoted to your dreams, one client at a time.
I'm thinking of a number between 450 and 850. Do you know what it is? It's my credit score, and it happens to be 720. The higher my credit score, the better chance I have of saving a lot of money.
Do you know your credit score? Do you know what's in your credit report? You can find out right now at freecreditreport.com. You can even print it out if you want to.
How much easier could it get? Log on to freecreditreport.com. That's freecreditreport.com.
Offer applies with enrollment in Triple Advantage.
Customer service is back in shipping. Call us and we'll show you how we're changing the way the shipping business does business.
In 1932, during the darkest days of the Great Depression, the first Stanford company was established. Although times were difficult, Lotus Stanford found success through the simple philosophy of hard work, clear vision, and value for the client. Today, 73 years later, the Stanford Financial Group of companies still adhere to these principles. We build to last. Call us at 1-888-9-STANFORD or visit stanfordfinancial.com.
What if everyone just settled for average? What if nobody raised the bar? What if everyone decided to let someone else figure it out? By investing in Russia's oil and natural gas reserves, the world's second largest, ConocoPhillips is helping ensure global energy production for decades to come. Turning what ifs into what's next is just another way we elevate.
Political Play of the Week is brought to you by ConocoPhillips. Where others see obstacles, we see a chance to elevate.
Now we look behind Congressman Tom DeLay's ever-present smile as he went to court today on charges of conspiracy and money laundering. Our senior political analyst, Bill Schneider, thinks he knows the secret to DeLay's claims of success. Bill?
Wolf, in a high-profile political case, you don't just need a lawyer who can handle your defense. You need a lawyer who can handle your image, one who can even win the Political Play of the Week. This is not Tom DeLay's campaign poster. It's his mugshot.
It's a great shot of him. It's him literally doing this. Like it's literally the best day of his life.
I find this is a very good day.
How did DeLay avoid an embarrassing mugshot? He went out and got himself a high-profile Texas lawyer who wears a Stetson hat and speaks with a drawl.
With a fair trial and a fair tribunal, the jury will find that Tom DeLay has not committed a crime.
Dick DeGuerin is a celebrity defense lawyer. He once represented Branch Davidian leader David Koresh. When Travis County prosecutor Ronnie Earl brought charges against Republican Senator Kay Bailey Hutchison in 1994, DeGuerin got her acquitted. Now that same prosecutor has brought charges against DeLay. DeGuerin has charged Earl with prosecutorial misconduct.
We've also filed a request to have the case moved out of Travis County.
He has asked the judge, an elected Democrat, to be removed from the case.
The motion is serious. It deals with not just the fact that the judge is an active Democrat, as he has every right to be, but that he has supported causes and persons that have been in direct opposition to Congressman DeLay, including MoveOn.org.
When reporters and photographers staked out the courthouse in DeLay's district where he was expected to surrender, DeGuerin advised his client to surrender 40 miles away in Harris County. No perp walk, inkless fingerprints, no mugshots with numbers across the chest, and for God's sake, look happy.
Mugshot, so he could put it out to Congressman DeLay's political opponents, and he's got what he wanted.
DeGuerin claims his client is being prosecuted because of his politics. So DeGuerin is playing politics right back, skillfully enough to win the Political Play of the Week. As it happens, DeGuerin is a Democrat whose father once worked for Lyndon Johnson. But he's given money to both Democrats and Republicans. Smart lawyer. Wolf?
All right, Bill Schneider, thank you very much. Let's immediately go to our severe weather expert, Chad Myers at CNN Hurricane Headquarters. You're getting some specific new information, Chad.
Well, as we knew, Wolf, and we knew this was going to come out, it's just a matter of time when the Hurricane Center actually calls landfall. They just did call center of eye landfall right on the island of Cozumel right there, just to the south of Cancun, just to the east of Playa del Carmen, Playa Car, that very populated area there, right up through the hotel zone and into Cancun itself. Cozumel, the island right out there, actually gets the center of the eye. Everybody wants to call landfall when one of the walls, one of the eye walls makes landfall, but that's not how the Hurricane Center does it. When the center of the eye passes over a coastal area, not a marsh sometimes, when it passes over a real coast, that's when they call landfall, and they just did right over the island of Cozumel. It actually moved on the northern half of Cozumel. We could see it really on radar for a while. Now the Cancun radar is out of service, probably because they just had a wind gust there of 107 miles per hour.
Chad, thanks very much. Chad Myers, we'll get back to you. Coming up, more on Hurricane Wilma and its assault on Mexico and its slow crawl toward Florida. We're only minutes away from an update from the National Hurricane Center Director, Max Mayfield. We'll carry it live. And the uncertainty hanging over Karl Rove and the Bush White House, with the CIA leak investigation coming down to the wire. Tough strategy questions, all that coming up. Stay with us.
here. Eat steak, we have one here. Beef, beef, it's a mighty good food. It's a grade A meal and I'm in the mood. Eat steak, eat a big old steak.
Playing the guitar is like having a conversation.
Me and B.B. King have a lot in common.
I love to play.
He has diabetes, I have diabetes.
You got a girlfriend?
We both play the blues. He doesn't like to wait for results, I don't like to wait.
All done within 5 seconds. You just can't beat that.
Results in just 5 seconds. Ask for One Touch Ultra. One touch changes everything.
Consolidate bills and lower your monthly payments with a $49 flat fee second mortgage from Ditech.com.
Lost another loan to Ditech.
Log on to Ditech.com or call 1-800-71-FIXED.
Hey, I'm an Astros fan. I'm famous for my whistle. It sounds like gonna be Astromania all over this house.
Astros win! Astros win!
I live for this!
Watch the World Series on Fox. Don't miss it.
Earning trust in the investment business takes time. Will 75 years do? Van Kampen Investments. Shine.
Good Night and Good Luck is the best reviewed movie of the year.
Who are the people? Is it you?
The nation's top critics all give it 4 stars.
Are you and I a target?
Somebody's going to go down. The Boston Globe says Good Night and Good Luck demands to be seen by audiences of all ages and political stripes. It's that important. Okay, fellas, here we go. Rolling Stone, New York Post, Associated Press, and Newsweek call it one of the best films of the year.
We will not walk in fear. Good night and good luck.
Rated PG. Now playing.
Strategy Session is sponsored by Warner Independent Pictures. Good night and good luck.
Who are the people? Are they elected? Are they appointed? Is it you?
In theaters now.
We're only moments away from Max Mayfield and the National Hurricane Center. He's going to update us on Hurricane Wilma. We'll bring that to you live as soon as he starts talking. In the meantime, let's get to today's strategy session. Joining us here in the Situation Room, CNN political contributors Donna Brazil and Babe Buchanan. Ladies, thanks very much for joining us. Let's talk about Tom DeLay and his day in court. Smiling, great success. He can't be very happy about this, though.
Well, look, I think his strategy right now is to grin and bear it for the time being and to allow his lawyers to do all the talking, especially to blame Democrats. What surprised me today is how desperate his team is. They didn't address the substance. They just kept blaming Democrats, blaming Move On, blaming the judge. I don't know if that's an effective strategy, but it appears that that's what Mr. DeLay is doing in the short term.
He did get the judge, because of that strategy, to acknowledge, well, let's have another judge see if I do have a conflict.
It's an excellent strategy. They're doing two things. First, they got DeLay looking very confident and certain and recognizing this is his chance to get this investigation behind him. It's been 3 years now. And secondly, he picked up an attorney who's extremely aggressive and says, look, this judge can't, it's not that he's a Democrat, there's a conflict of interest, or at least an appearance of a conflict of interest, and hopefully he will get a judge that will be more sensitive, very likely more sensitive
most
to
of
his
the judges
client.
are elected in Texas, and all of them appear to be either Democrat or Republican. I don't know if that will in any way shake their opinion about the
But as
case.
he made a point, it's not that he's a Democrat, it's that he's been very actively involved in Kerry's campaign in the sense as a contributor, as well as MoveOn.com. And so the idea is this is an appearance of a conflict of interest. A Democrat's fine, but not one that's been so, generous with his money towards somebody.
Donna, the conventional wisdom out there among Republicans, I assume, based on what you read, what you hear, is that DeLay's problem's bad for the Republican Party. But there's one school of thought among Republicans that says maybe not. Maybe it's good to get rid of him, if you will. Let more moderate voices, a more pleasing voice, take charge of the Republican leadership in the House, and that this in the long term would be good for the Republicans.
Well, I think, first of all, it's bad for the Republicans right now. There's this scandal by the minute that's developing on Capitol Hill, a corruption of cronyism, so to speak. And this is not a good time for the Republican Party. They've seen their numbers in the polls now with the American people drop almost 10% since the beginning of the year. So this is not a good day for the Republicans. And I think Democrats are doing a good job talking about the issues and reminding the American people that
Hold on one second. We're going to interrupt. We're going to come back. Max Mayfield of the National Hurricane Center briefing us on the latest forecast.
Update on Hurricane Wilma. This is still an extremely dangerous Category 4 hurricane.
On the satellite loop behind me, you can see the very well-defined eye. It's actually right over the island of Cozumel off the northeast coast of the Yucatan. In fact, the island itself is mostly within that eye. If you look at the radar coming out of Cancun, you can see a double eye wall structure. There's a little delay on this radar, about 45 minutes here, but the innermost eye wall you can see in here. The outer eye wall is very strong, and it is almost up to Cancun at the present time. The maximum sustained winds are estimated to be near 140 miles per hour, making it a very solid Category 4 hurricane. And I could contrast this a little bit with a couple of other hurricanes. Hurricane Emily from July of this year was a borderline Category 3-4 hurricane. It hit about the same area. Also back in 1988, Hurricane Gilbert was actually a Category 5 hurricane. Both very powerful hurricanes, but they were both moving fairly rapidly across the Yucatan. This hurricane is moving much slower, about 5 miles per hour, still toward the northwest, and what that means is it's going to be over the Yucatan for a much longer period, and will continue to pound that region for at least 24 hours. And also that outermost eye wall that we talked about there is a pretty broad eye wall. Looking at the recon data, we've got 100-knot winds over a very large area there. So it's going to take some time for this hurricane to weaken as it crosses the Yucatan Peninsula. But it will indeed weaken, and by this time tomorrow we'll have a much weaker hurricane than we have today. I would like to show some of the model data on for the future forecast of this. The official forecast is very consistent with what we've had earlier today. This is the Navy model. It's a 5-day forecast that basically shows the hurricane moving across South Florida, and in 5 days' time being up here off the coast of Nova Scotia. That's one model. Here's another one, the global forecast system of the National Weather Service. Usually one of our more reliable models that takes it across South Florida, and in 5 days' time has it east of Nova Scotia up in this area. And here's one more. I'll just show 3 here. This is our what we call the GFDL model. It was developed up at the NOAA lab at Princeton University. It's a model specifically designed for hurricanes, and you can see that also brings it over South Florida and moves it up toward the New England area. Now, the one thing I really want to focus on here is that at least they're all consistent in showing that motion eventually toward the northeast and over South Florida. They vary on the timing of that, and that's something that we're really going to have to watch. The official forecast takes a very reasonable blend of the different models that we're looking at, and by Monday afternoon, the center of the hurricane is forecast to be near the southwest coast of Florida, and will be picking up speed moving toward the northeast. What I really want to convey here is that we have some computer guidance that is much faster than that, some much slower than that. So since this is Friday afternoon and we're starting the weekend, people really need to pay close attention to the forecast coming out of the National Hurricane Center and listen to the advice of their local officials to make sure that no one gets caught by surprise here. On the current forecast track, we will likely have tropical storm force winds very late. This is in the lower Florida Keys, the first portion of the United States to be impacted. Likely very late on Sunday night or possibly very early on Monday morning. So the first watches for the U.S., if it stays close to our forecast track, will likely go up sometime during the day tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see how it plays out. We're continuing to fly the NOAA jet aircraft in the environment of Hurricane Wilma, sampling the steering currents and feeding all that data into these various computer models. So the message here is to continue to pay very close attention. It's still coming. It's just been slowed down. It looks like it will interact with the Yucatan Peninsula long enough to weaken, and will likely we'll be dealing with a Category 2 or a Category 1 hurricane as it approaches Florida. But I don't want to minimize that in any way. It's still going to be a hurricane, and a Category 1 or Category 2 hurricane can have very significant impacts. And with that, I'm going to toss it over for a short update from Billy Wagner on the Florida Keys.
Thank you, Max. Good afternoon, everyone. Florida Keys currently are under a local state of emergency. We've started responding to a major hurricane a couple of days ago, with the first objective being a mandatory evacuation of all our non-resident population, the RVs that we have in the county, travel trailers, and the closure of all our state parks and county parks. So far today, our mandatory evacuation has been on hold for our resident population, and we plan on phasing an evacuation order later tomorrow sometime for our resident population. When this takes place, we'll have very limited capabilities for our emergency services. There will be no hurricane shelters available in the Keys. Our primary shelter on the mainland will be here at FIU, which is now open, and we have approximately 100 evacuees there. We will have transportation for those needing transportation to this shelter. We've been having close coordination with Dade, Broward, Palm Beach, and Collier counties in regarding regional evacuation, which will be taking place in the next day or so. We will start a mandatory evacuation of all our mobile home residents throughout the Keys tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. And we'll start our special needs population early in the morning. Those who have questions regarding our major tourist attractions, which we're supposed to start today and continue through next weekend, such as Fantasy Fest and those in Marathon and Alamorada, can find information regarding these activities on the web at FLAKEYS.com or FloridaKeys.com. One thing I want to make very clear to our residents down there and the people who have chosen not to evacuate yet, that when we make the recommendations tomorrow, we certainly hope we get an immediate response, because the timing of this is critical, that we don't have any problems with the regional evacuation of our neighbors. And with that, I'll turn it over to Max.
And one thing we want to continue to emphasize is don't just focus on the center of this hurricane. It's a large circulation. The tropical storm force winds extend out about 200 miles. And please don't forget that portions of US 1, which is the only road through the Florida Keys, portions of that road can go underwater when the winds get up to tropical storm force, even up in the upper Keys, well away from the center of the hurricane. And once the road's cut off, that's it. No one else can get out after that. I know there'll be a lot of questions on exactly how much rain and exactly how strong the winds will be. It's really and how high the storm surge, all very good questions, but I've done this a long time, and it's just too soon to be getting specific. It's still moving slowly northwestward towards the Yucatan. Once it makes that commitment to the northeast and starts picking up speed, we'll have a better handle on that. And once we get the watches and warnings posted for the United States, then we'll activate the formal media pool, and that'll make it a lot easier. We have a few minutes for questions and answers if you have some. Yes, ma'am.
Linda Gelinella, ABC Action News in Tampa. On the current track, what would be the effects in Tampa Bay?
Well, that's what we don't want to. The question is the effects of Tampa Bay. Right now, the forecast has the center of the hurricane moving in to the south, well south of Tampa Bay. That would be on the weak side. The strongest winds of this hurricane will definitely be on the south side of the track. So on this track, it would the Tampa Bay would not be in the worst quadrant there. But we're still, over 3 days away from landfall, and I've seen too many changes. A lot of things can change between now and then. So the message up there, as elsewhere in the Florida Peninsula, just pay very close attention. The storm surge will definitely be the greatest near and to the south of where the center crosses the coast. And in this case, the winds will also be strongest near and to the south of where the center crosses the coast. Anything else? Yes, sir.
Max, you say 24 hours minimum over the Yucatan Peninsula. How long maximum could be?
Some impact I think they'll actually have here for a couple of days here. Even Sunday morning, it's still going to be here in the or Sunday afternoon, likely near the Yucatan Channel. So they're still going to be on the fringe of the circulation even Sunday. The Yucatan is really getting nailed on this as we speak. Yes, ma'am.
Even though we are assuming that it's staying over the Yucatan for 24 hours, maybe longer, maybe shorter, and it may be downgraded to a Category 1 or a 2 or maybe even a 3 before it hits Florida, even though we don't know how much rain is going to come down, what kind of impact can a Category 1 or 2 rainfall still do, and what kind of destruction can it produce?
Yeah, the question involves the rainfall, how much rainfall can we expect, and we're going to have a major rainfall event here over the Yucatan and very likely over portions of western Cuba. We're forecasting 10 to 20 inches because of that slow motion, likely some isolated amounts up to near 40 inches. There'll be tremendous rains in those two areas. As it heads towards the United States, I just don't want to get too specific on the rainfall yet because it really depends on that forward motion. The point is there's no good correlation between the intensity of a storm and the amount of rainfall. As we've learned many times, you can have a lot of rainfall even from a tropical storm or tropical depression, more so than even with some very strong hurricanes. The rainfall in this event will likely be most related to how fast it's moving at the time. But we're certainly going to get some rainfall. The best news would be if it really starts accelerating and moves at a faster pace as it moves over us. Okay, one more, please. Yes, ma'am.
Jane Stanley, Local 10 News. You said a couple days ago that this was a perplexing storm. Do you still feel that way?
The question was, is this still a perplexing storm? And I guess to me they're all like that to some extent. And what I was referring to a couple of days ago was the fact that we had a lot of scatter in the computer models, and at that time we had one model that kept it, one of our better models, keeping it over the Florida Straits for 5 days, and then the other one had it up near Nova Scotia or Maine. So that's more uncertainty than I like to see. As you saw today, we have much better agreement. Still some variation in the timing, but the overall tendency towards the Florida Keys and South Florida is still there. And so at least that's some consistency today. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Max Mayfield of the National Hurricane Center with the latest information. It's almost 5 p.m. here in Washington, and you're in the Situation Room where we're tracking this information on Hurricane Wilma, a very dangerous Category 4 storm right now. And happening now, it's 4 p.m. in Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula, being whipped by Wilma. The eye of the storm passing directly over the resort island of Cozumel. We'll have exclusive pictures of Wilma's wrath. And in nearby Cancun, thousands of tourists, many of them Americans, trapped by the storm, hunkered down in shelters, in conditions some say are miserable. And it's coming up on 5 p.m. in southern Florida. Now bracing for Wilma's arrival Monday. Are residents ready? We'll take you there live. I'm Wolf Blitzer. You're in the Situation Room. We've just gotten word in the last few minutes. You saw it live here on CNN. Hurricane Wilma has made landfall, and there's a new forecast just out for the National Hurricane Center. Our severe weather expert, meteorologist Chad Meyer, is standing by at the CNN Hurricane headquarters. with all the latest information. We got a lot of information from Max Mayfield. Help our viewers digest and understand what we just heard.
Well, trying to get to what I was trying to read between the lines of what Max was saying, and what I heard him say today, just now, that he has a lot more confidence in the forecast than he did even 12 hours ago. Reading the 5 o'clock advisory, it's still a Category 4 storm. The winds are still 140, and that eye wall right now is right on top of Cancun. It moved right over Cozumel, the eye center of the eye itself, but the most dangerous part now, I did get the radar back from Cancun. They got it back up and running. The radar coming in here just to the south of Cancun, this red area from the 7, from the hotel zone down across Playa del Carmen and all the way down past the Moon Palace and Expuja and Xcaret. That entire area there getting pounded with winds of 130 miles per hour. Anyone that stayed in the hotel zone, which is right on the ocean, obviously that's why they put the hotels there. I think they're thinking that that was the wrong idea to stay there. Now, with the winds gusting to over 130. At 2 o'clock on Saturday, and this is something that I didn't hear Max say, this is an automatic forecast, and we put in the automatic points that the Hurricane Center puts in. Category 2 on Sunday, but then look, down to a Category 1 before landfall, and that, of course, is the line, and you heard Max say, don't focus on the line, focus on the cone, and it still could go left or right. But I was surprised. They did drop the intensity a little bit before landfall in the U.S. Do not let your guard down. We saw what a Category 1 did in Miami when Katrina, before it was the monster in the Gulf of Mexico.
And he said tropical storm winds could hit Florida as early as Sunday night, late Sunday night, maybe early Monday morning, Monday afternoon. They expect, at least for now, this hurricane to make landfall in Florida, southern Florida, someplace on Monday. Chad, stand by for a moment. I want to check in with one of our so-called citizen journalists in the hurricane zone right now. He's been helping us understand what's going on. He's also sharing with us some exclusive video he's shot. Gary Walton is a cave diver riding out the hurricane in the town of Akumal. He's joining us on the phone. That's about 60 miles south of Cancun. Gary, what is it like where you are right now?
Well, Wolf, I had hoped that it would abate somewhat, but you know what? I think this storm is every bit as strong as it was several hours ago. Right now we have the storm surge coming up pretty close to the level it was last night. I'd say that that's probably only about 1.5 feet higher than normal high tide level. But the wind is howling. All the foliage is just heeled over at a 45-degree angle, being pushed around. It looks like this wind is still coming from the northwest here, so it's very nasty.
You shot some exclusive video and got it to us via the internet. Gary, tell our viewers what we see.
Well, I've got so many pieces, I'm trying to recall exactly what I sent. I believe one of them may be a shot of Half Moon Bay and some swells coming in, just a view of the beach and a good bit of sand and some rock debris.
Here it is. We're seeing that right now.
Okay, great. And I have a lot more of that I'm trying to come to grips with, but I'm a little technically challenged. We're running on batteries here. I think I also sent some where I walked through a jungle area and the foliage is being pushed around by the wind.
What's happening outside right now? But you're inside, obviously, but from what you see and hear, what's it like outside?
Well, these other clips I have, I can actually demonstrate that later, but what's happening is we have floodwaters that are covering the streets right now in North Akumal. It's about, I'd say, about 3 or 4 inches deep on the access road that comes out toward Yalkul Lagoon. As you walk around, the wires are still pretty much up on the poles, but of course they're moving around, being pushed around by the wind. The poles are shaking. Out on the beach, some of the first floor habitations of condos and so forth have been pushed in by the larger waves that rolled in earlier today. And basically, it was all I could do to hold on when I walked around and shot this video.
Gary, our meteorologist Chad Myers has a question for you. Chad?
We know you're out of power, but do you have a battery-operated radio? Are you hearing any reports out of Cozumel or out of Cancun at all?
Actually, the most I've heard is what I'm hearing with you right now, but we are on the internet, believe it or not. Thank goodness for the modern age. And with our backup batteries, I got a 48-volt system here, and we've been running on that all day because the power grid was dropped earlier in the morning.
So the winds are still offshore for you. You are actually south of the eye. I have a picture of the eye here, and I'll zoom in, and actually I can actually show you right where you are on the storm. There's Tulum right there. Here's Cancun, Akumal, Cozumel, right there, Playa del Carmen. Your winds are actually offshore here, not as dangerous as what everybody else is seeing up here with the onshore plowing of the wind and the waves and the storm surge right into the hotel zone, right into downtown Cancun. The damage on this side of the storm will be exponential compared to what you're seeing down where you are. So I suspect when this is over and you get in your car and drive north, it's going to start to look a whole lot worse than what you're seeing.
Well, we're thinking about everybody up north. While we're hunkered down here riding this out, we realize that the folks that are taking the leading edge of this eye are really taking the worst part of the beating. But we're blessed here on the backside of the storm. And actually, when I was out on the beach earlier looking at the waves, you can see the tremendous surf coming in. But of course, the strong offshore is blowing the tops of the waves back. So we're lucky here.
All right, Chad, stand by for a moment. Gary, thank you very much. Please be careful. Gary Walton has been helping us. He's riding out the storm in Akumal, about 60 miles south of Cancun. Let's head over to Cancun. I first spoke with my next guest yesterday. Kimberly Howell is the owner of the Cancun Mermaid Hotel. She's riding out the storm with her dogs. She's joining us now on the phone. What's the latest where you are, Kimberly?
Hi, Wolf. Things are getting pretty intense here. The winds have really picked up, and I was listening before I went on air to the report, and it was saying that it just made landfall, and you could practically feel it. The winds really came up. It feels like the entire house is shaking. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but it's pretty intense.
Are you, with the exception of your dogs, anybody else with you?
Well, all my neighbors and things want to be in their homes because they have the same situation, so we've been going back and forth and checking on each other. But, yeah, it's just me and the doggies.
Kimberly, hold on for one moment. I want to come back to you. Lucia Newman, our Havana bureau chief, is joining us now. Lucia, what's going on in Havana? I see you there now.
Well, Wolf, where it's raining a little bit, it's been raining on and off, in fact, since last night here in Havana, raining a lot more heavily in westerly Pinar del Rio province. But Cubans are calling this long, excruciating wait for Wilma here a slow agony, because especially since nobody really knows where this hurricane is going, but they do know it's going to cause some damage here. A loudspeaker announces a hurricane alert is in effect, urging the people of this fishing town in Cuba's southwestern coast to speed up preparations for their evacuation. We're expecting waves of 5, 6, even 7 meters, which poses potential danger for this area, so we're rushing to conclude the evacuation, says Civil Defense Chief Ediberto Lugo. In the city of Pinar del Rio, coastal residents like Maipú Martinez and her son are relieved to spend the next few days, at least, in this school, a shelter about an hour inland. 2 years ago, when my son was born, the sea inundated my town, and you can imagine the desperation to be surrounded by water. So they say leave. We leave, she says. According to Cuba's chief meteorologist, the long, wet wait for Wilma poses a special threat to the western tip of the island, where it's expected to rain non-stop until at least Monday.
¿Tendremos lluvia?
There'll be a substantial accumulation of water, and this is an area where it's already rained so much this season that the soil is saturated. The water can't be absorbed, so there's flooding, says Jose Rubiera. But in historic Old Havana, where the rain isn't expected to let up until at least early next week, the worst threat isn't flooding. Here, the dilapidated and overcrowded buildings like this one soak up the rain for days, and when the sun finally comes out and they begin to dry, they often crack and just simply collapse. These residents will be evacuated soon. Can't you see? All of this can just cave in. The water comes in everywhere, says Pedro Martinez. Those who are waiting out the storm in one of 1,000 state-organized shelters will have food, water, and medical attention. What's harder to supply is patience to ride out this slow-moving storm. Well, Wolf, while Cubans are just sick and tired of hurricanes, you may be astonished to hear that there are a lot of tourists here, especially from Europe and South America, who are waiting with nervous anticipation. They say they've never had an experience like a hurricane. Wolf.
Lucia Newman in Havana, thanks very much. Let's head back to Cancun, about 300 miles from where Lucia is. Kimberly Howell is still on the phone for us. Kimberly, you were telling us you're by yourself with the exception of your dogs. Clearly, you can't go outside your house to check to see how your neighbors are doing.
Well, I'll tell you, about a half an hour ago, the woman that lives across the street from me was standing in the middle of the street, letting the wind push her down the street. And another neighbor was walking with a hefty garbage bag with the head cut out and walking down the street with a video camera. So it's amazing how people are doing the things that they're doing. But no, I'm not going out. I'm not going out there.
Chad, that sounds amazing given the fact that Cancun is literally, I think it's a ground zero, isn't it?
They really are in the middle of the eye right now. I'm wondering are there shingles coming off homes now? Do you see debris in the streets yet? The storm, you're still going to get worse from here. You're going to still add another 30 miles per hour from where you are on top of the wind you have now. But are you seeing damage yet?
I'm mostly hearing it. For instance, you mentioned shingles. Well, all the homes are just concrete, even the roofs, so there's nothing to peel off there. But I'm hearing a lot of glass breaking around in the neighborhood and a lot of loud banging sounds, which I'm gathering would be trees falling over, perhaps onto vehicles. There's this wooden telephone pole out in front of me that is just rocking back and forth, so I don't know how long that's going to hold up.
Guys, hold on for a minute. Jackie Schechter's checking the situation online. She's getting some pictures from Cancun right now. What are you seeing, Jackie?
Well, Wolf, remember I told you about Kevin, who was using a generator to power his laptop and his DSL line. These are the new photos just posted that he's got coming in. They're really dark, but you can see how the winds are howling. You can see if they can pull these up full screen, there you go, how the trees are bending over. Pretty intense photographs that he's taking. You can see as I scroll through them, he's putting them up as we speak. Just want to give you an idea of how this is working. This is Kevin and his friends, again, off a generator and a power line from that generator that they have split, and they're getting them online as we speak. Wolf?
It looks very dark, Kimberly. Based on those pictures, I don't think you could see them where you are, but it looks very, very ominous and scary where you are in Cancun.
Oh, absolutely. I would be lying if I told you it's not making me very nervous, but you just have to pass through it. I mean, the house, I feel very safe inside the house. I've been battling a little flood in the kitchen, which has been my major problem, but other than that, it's just scary, the sounds of the wind, how intense and loud they are.
How are your dogs doing?
They have a terrified look on their face, and anytime I walk across the room, they're stuck right under me. But they're outside normally, so just being in the house is weird for them. But this is certainly an experience.
All right, Kimberly, we'll check back with you. Be careful over there. Kimberly Howell is the owner of the Cancun Mermaid Hotel, and she's been spending some time with us on the phone. Chad Myers, I think it's fair to say it must be extremely frightening what's going on for Kimberly.
Absolutely, especially when you're locked in a house. You probably have the storm shutters up if you have them. You can't see anything. You can't even look outside. And then it's worse if you don't have storm shutters, because at this point, at about 100 miles per hour, that's when windows start to break. Even if there's something flying in the air, whether it's a stick or somebody else's trash can lid, even at about 40 or 50 miles per hour, if that hits a window, that will break the glass. Jackie, I want to ask you a question. I saw those pictures that you had.
Yeah.
Can you go back about 4 pictures?
Which one in particular?
The one that I'm looking for, there was like a line of 4 or 5 palm trees.
That one right there?
And what I thought I was seeing was all of those palm trees actually underwater.
Let me see if I can find that one. There's a group of them right there.
Right. Go forward from there.
That one. Ooh, whoops. We lost them. Let me scoot back up for you and see if I can find them. There's that set. And that one up there looks like they're pretty much on the water.
Yep.
You can see they're pretty buried. I will tell you, there's one right there. You can see it's pretty ominous and dark. I will tell you, I've been through a Category 5 hurricane inside a home, and the thing we're seeing online and we're hearing a lot of from Kimberly and other people is that sound, Chad, the sound of the freight train. That is exactly what it sounds like. And again, you don't know what's hitting the house. You don't know what's hitting the windows. You have no idea what's going on outside. So these photos are pretty much the best indication we're going to get right now of what it looks like for Kimberly.
You know, Wolf, if you have a wind speed of 130 in a hurricane that blows for a couple of hours, or even for an hour for that matter, that's like the destruction of an F2 tornado over the entire area, a 10-mile wide F2 tornado, rather than a couple of blocks like we see in the Midwest. All
right, guys, stand by. We're going to get back to both of you. We're going to continue our coverage, though, of this hurricane. Here in the Situation Room, the Florida Keys, preparing for the worst, hoping for the best. We'll go there live as Wilma crawls closer and closer, plus in the eye of the storm. Senator Bill Nelson of Florida flying with hurricane hunters right now. We'll get him on the phone in just a few minutes. We hope so, at least. And later, a nightmare vacation. Tourists who went to Mexico to play find themselves crammed into hurricane shelters. And you're in the Situation Room.
Wherever hope is the only thing left, wherever lives can be turned right side up, wherever natural disasters call for acts of God, that is where your donations to the Salvation Army go. Help those who have been affected by Hurricane Katrina. Donate today at 1-800-SAL-ARMY or salvationarmyusa.org.
Life offers a simple formula for long-term success. Protect what really matters. Grow it with care. That's our approach to planning for your future at Prudential Retirement. For decades, we've used our strength to help people and organizations plan for retirement with intelligent retirement solutions designed to both grow wealth and protect it. Growth and protection. A strong and steady approach to retirement at Prudential Financial.
Okay. Tell me, what are your dreams?
Well, I want to find my true love and see the world.
How do you make that happen?
Well, my true love's parents are filthy rich.
Oh.
I want to open a restaurant.
Me too.
Really?
How do you do it?
Well, I have an investment portfolio.
Can you show me right now?
Turn your dream into a plan with Amerivest, a new online advisory service that helps you build a diversified portfolio in 5 easy steps. Call now for your free portfolio analysis.
2 journalists, 2 hours, 2 ways to see the story. Every night at 10, Newsnight, Aaron Brown, Anderson Cooper, CNN Tonight, 10 East. Explore a place where amazing things happen. Where the world's biggest challenges are faced every day. And yet, it feels just like home. Oregon State University.
Good evening. At 9:17 this morning, the future arrived years earlier than predicted. The future. What is it?
High-speed internet. Faster downloads.
It's a video mail.
Digo, gracias, futuro puedo detener la televisión vivo y
I mean, until the aliens get here, I'm happy with the, with the high def. The movies on demand.
There's the future, and then there's the future.
Well, which one are we?
This is the future.
The future of television and internet is here. It's Comcastic.
When the weather is the news, trust CNN. It's essential.
We're going to go back to Florida to see how Floridians are preparing for Hurricane Wilma in just a moment. But first, let's go up to New York. Jack Cafferty's back with some responses to our question from the past hour. Jack?
Thanks, Wolf. In light of all the bad news for the Republicans these days, from Tom DeLay to the Harriet Miers nomination to the possible indictments in the CIA leak case, we've been asking, could things possibly get any worse for the Republican Party? Roger in Stevens Point, Wisconsin. Oh, yes, if Rove and Libby are indicted, I believe that'll open a whole new can of worms. God only knows what secrets will come to light then. Not only the CIA leak, but all the events that led up to this war. Eric in Dallas writes, yes, and they probably will, but it's cyclical. I'm really tired of the right and the left. Probably 85% of the voters are closer to the center than to the extremes. This is one nation. People need to play nice. We're all in this together. Bill writes, yes, the Democrats could come up with just one good idea to solve even one of the problems you outlined. Mike in Washington writes, the question should not be, could things get any worse for the Republican Party, but could things get any worse for the American people? That, of course, would be a rhetorical question, and nobody would need to write to you, Jack. Vince writes from Los Angeles, Herbert Hoover could come back from the dead. And Jason in Scottsdale writes, Jack, could you repeat the question? I couldn't understand it with all the background noise and a lot of chatter going on.
Jason, Scottsdale, Arizona's got a sense of humor. He's referring to the chatter from that the president referred to yesterday.
That's correct. The president said he was not going to be distracted by the background noise and chatter, that he was elected to do the job, and that's what he was going to do.
All right, Jack, thanks very much. Jack Cafferty is in New York. He's here exclusively in the Situation Room Monday through Friday, and we're very happy about that. With Hurricane Wilma, now not expected to hit the Florida Keys at least until Monday. Mandatory evacuations have been postponed. CNN's Corrine Winter is live in Key West. She's joining us from there. Looks like you're getting some rain already, though, Corrine.
Well, we've been experiencing squalls all afternoon, and just when we thought we had some relief here, it feels like it's picking up again. As you mentioned, still days away from perhaps hitting the Florida Keys, but this waiting game is definitely affecting the area of Key West. I can tell you financially, the city says it's losing between $2 and $3 million per day in lost tourism. One big event that's only days away and basically is in danger because of Wilma is called Fantasy Fest. We have one of the participants here. We'll have you take a look at her costume. Her name is Sonia Jones, and usually these streets right by Sonia are filled with tens and thousands of people this time of year. You're still optimistic. It's supposed to start on Tuesday. You're keeping your fingers crossed that it will go on.
Yes, we're scheduled to start Fantasy Fest 2005, Tuesday, October 25th. All the events will be packed into 6 full days of fun. Everybody will be able to experience all the events that they wouldn't have if they wouldn't have made the beginning of the festival anyway. So Tuesday, October 25th, and any updated information can be found at fla.keys.com.
Thank you so much, Sonia. You can see her costume there, Wolf. It's, again, similar to Mardi Gras leading up to Halloween. It's just one of the hurdles this area is facing. We'll have to keep our eyes on Wilma. Wolf.
Corrine, thanks very much. Corrine, be careful where you are. Coming up, trapped in a vacation paradise because of Hurricane Wilma. We'll take you to Cancun, Mexico, where many tourists, including a lot of Americans, are staying in hotels, but crowded together and sleeping on the floors. Tell you what's going on. And on a plane hunting down the hurricane, Senator Bill Nelson of Florida. He's on that plane right now. It looks like this one. He's trying to get more information on Wilma. We'll speak with him on the phone. Stay with us.
My doctor said my type 2 diabetes was out of control. That high blood sugar increased my risk of serious complications. He said I better diet, exercise, take my medicine. Yeah. I heard it all before. Well, maybe I should have listened.
Every year, up to 24,000 people lose their eyesight to diabetes. Even more are at risk for stroke, heart attack, and limb loss. If you have high blood sugar, get help. Call or visit diabetes.com.
Introducing the Total Value Promise.
From the award-winning quality of Buick.
I promise to stand behind your Buick.
With our 4-year, 50,000-mile new vehicle warranty.
And the serenity of a quiet-tuned interior.
I promise you the security of OnStar.
Our 2006 LaCrosse has standard side curtain airbags and V6 power with an estimated 30 miles per gallon highway. The LaCrosse CX is under $22,600 after all applicable offers. See your Buick dealer today.
Eat steak, eat a big old steer. Eat steak, we have one deer. Eat beef, it's a mighty good food. It's a grade A meal when I'm in the mood. Eat steak, eat a big old steer.
The nation's top critics are raving about Good Night and Good Luck. Rolling Stone calls it an electrifying movie event. The New York Times says, see it now. And Newsweek declares one of the best movies of the year.
Good night and good luck.
Rated PG. Now playing.
It's the time of the season when love runs high. In this time,
moving your 401ks to Fidelity is groovy. Our retirement specialists make it so easy, they'll even do most of the paperwork. You dig? Call 1-800-FIDELITY. Smart move.
The Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, is bracing for Wilma to hit South Florida. Our Brian Todd is over at the agency headquarters here in Washington with an inside look. What's going on? How are they preparing, Brian?
Well, Wolf, all this week, FEMA officials have been stressing points of difference between what happened during Hurricane Katrina and how they're preparing for Hurricane Wilma. And to hit home those differences, they gave us access to their command center.
Got any other issues for me?
Another eye of the storm. The National Response Coordination Center, a key command post inside FEMA headquarters. From here, FEMA officials pre-position emergency response teams, hundreds of truckloads of food, water, and ice throughout the state of Florida. Manning their posts 24/7 ahead of Hurricane Wilma, FEMA officials are determined to avoid the mistakes made during Hurricane Katrina and its aftermath, especially any breakdowns in communication.
We have people in the governor's office, we have people in Orlando, we have people in South Florida, the Hurricane Center. We're delivering hundreds of satellite telephones to make sure that every county has that capability. We are going to have situational awareness over this storm.
But FEMA officials stress that because this particular storm is targeting Florida, it is a different equation. This time, state agencies so well versed in hurricane preparedness and response are taking the lead. FEMA is there to provide logistics and technical and communications support, but it is the state of Florida, Wolf, that is taking the lead this time.
Brian Todd reporting for us. Thanks, Brian, very much. Brian's outside FEMA headquarters here in Washington. Thousands of tourists are spending their Cancun vacation in shelters instead of on the beach. Let's check in with our Ali Velci. He's standing by in New York with that part of the story. Ali?
Yeah, you've been talking to some people who are in Cancun because they live there or they're riding it out, but there are an estimated 40,000 tourists stranded in and around the area. They haven't been able to get out, and now they are in a face-off with Hurricane Wilma.
We're in an evacuation centre. There's Hurricane Wilma. Haven't you been there?
This British tourist among thousands who've been moved from Cancun's oceanfront hotel zone to shelters inland. With Hurricane Wilma now forecast to linger over the Yucatan Peninsula for 2 days, this weekend promises to be anything but relaxing for these vacationers. Mexican officials say they're prepared for this kind of emergency with shelters equipped to provide food as well as medical care.
We've had diabetic patients, patients with hypertension, patients who didn't bring all their medication. So we've been giving them their medication so that they're covered.
But some evacuees, including this woman from Indianapolis, say conditions are far from ideal.
They were going to have safe accommodations for us, and there was going to be food. They just took a diabetic to the hospital because there is no food. And we're in this school, and there's still people that don't have rooms. So I think they led us astray, and we could have been home in the United States in safety, and we're not.
Even after the storm passes, it's unclear how long these travelers will be stuck in Cancun.
We'll speak to you later, all right? We don't know yet. We have no idea when we're coming home. It should be Sunday, but it could be Monday. We don't know.
All right, and as you know, you were talking to Jackie a little earlier. Those people who are using their computers are on generator power. Power's been cut to the city of Cancun as a precaution, as we know, and as a result, these shelters don't have power. They may have some generator power, but no lights or air conditioning. So anybody who's stuck in them is probably not pretty comfortable right now. Wolf?
I guess we can only imagine how frightful, how worried these people must be and their loved ones back in the States who are worried about them. Ali, thank you very much. Coming up, in harm's way from Hurricane Wilma, we're keeping you up to the minute on the storm's path. Whether Florida is likely to take a pounding, the answer almost certainly it will. Plus, the furor over a United Nations report on the assassination of Lebanon's former prime minister. We'll tell you what the report says and why it's become so explosive. Stand by for that.
Hey, toilet here. Please stop the running. Not just the old handle jiggle. It's the oldest trick in the book.
Don't tighten the screw up too tight or you'll crack the porcelain.
Okay.
Thanks, Tim. And don't forget to fix that chair.
Ace, the helpful place.
Fred, I want upgrades. More speed, better security, and I want options by Tuesday.
Tuesday?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Rudy, why me?
Look, maybe I can get you some more time.
No, Tuesday's fine. I'll call CDW. We'll work out some options. Rudy.
Nobody responds like CDW. With fast answers to your technology questions, you get what you need when you need it. CDW, the right technology, right away.
Thanks for caring, man.
A lesson for parents about the power of your cable remote. Yes, you can surf the channels with it. But did you know? The cable remote can help control what your children watch. It's pretty easy. First hit Menu or Settings, then scroll through the on-screen options to set your password. Finally, block the programming by channel or rating, and talk to your children about why certain programs are not for them. Set your parental controls. It's easy. For more details on parental controls and tools, go to controlyourtv.org.
Let's
go right back to the CNN Hurricane Center. Our severe weather expert, our meteorologist, Chad Myers, standing by to update us on the latest on Hurricane Wilma. Viewers are just tuning in right now. What have we learned, Chad?
We have learned that the center of the eye went right over the island of Cozumel. In fact, if you were in Cozumel, and you can go outside now, I don't recommend it, don't do it, but you can see blue sky above you, and the other side of the eye wall is about to come over you with 130-mile-per-hour winds the other way. I can get a lot closer, but I wanted you to see how big the storm actually is. From central Florida now down to Honduras, there is the center of the eye of the storm, the eye wall, the most dangerous part of the storm now right on shore, coming into Cancun. We know of the hotel zone, but I do think that the town of Cancun probably getting significant flooding now. We talked about it yesterday, how the Yucatan Peninsula doesn't flood very much. It's very flat, and you would think, well, that's a problem. You know, there are very few rivers, 3 rivers on the entire Yucatan Peninsula. There are cenotes, basically sinkholes. The water runs right through the ground. The ground is so porous. It's limestone, Swiss cheese almost, if you go out away from the city where the area is paved, and that Swiss cheese just percolates the water right down to the ground, and the water is groundwater, not surface water. So even if we get 20 inches of rain here, there'll be moderate flooding, but not feet. We won't see villages washed away because there is basically no topography for that water to go anywhere. It just goes straight down. There's the track right on up through and into Florida. What I didn't hear Max Mayfield say a little bit earlier is how he thinks the temperature of the water is actually going to bring the wind speed down enough that when it makes landfall in Florida, Wolf, it'll be a Category 1 at 90 miles per hour, not the Category 2 that we thought yesterday.
All right, Chad, stand by. Senator Bill Nelson of Florida is getting a very up-close, personal look at Wilma. He's on board a Hurricane Hunter plane. It's flying right now over the storm, gathering information. Senator Nelson is joining us on the phone. Senator, where are you?
We are to the east of Belize, on the south side of the hurricane, turning northward on the east side of the hurricane. We've been taking these measurements with these instrumented packages that fall all the way to the surface of the water. We had a little drama earlier, Wolf, coming across Cuba. They had given us permission. We got halfway across Cuba. Then they said, you've got to divert, go due east, right down the spine of the island, and that's when we started hitting the turbulence of the hurricane as we got out on the west side of the island of Cuba.
Our viewers probably remember you were at one point in your life were an astronaut. How high are you flying, and how scared are you?
We are at 42,000 feet. This high up, you get some turbulence, but you're really at the top of the hurricane. These guys are just amazing because they've got all these computers on board. They send all of this data that comes back real time. They beam it by satellite back to the National Hurricane Center. And this, interestingly, it's a good thing. The report is it's going to downgrade because this airplane is going out of service into maintenance on Sunday. They don't have a backup, and that's one of the things I'm going to try to get them.
Senator, a lot of our viewers in Florida, your constituents, want to know what they should be bracing for in the coming days. What do you want to say to your Floridians?
Well, we know only too well that hurricanes are a part of our lifestyle, and Florida is ready because we've had to go through so many of them. But it does look like this hurricane is going to linger right now over the Yucatan Peninsula for about 24 hours. That's going to weaken it, and the models are now predicting that it may go down to a Category 1. But Floridians, don't let down your guard. Get ready.
Senator, stand by. Chad Myers is joining us in the questioning. He's our severe weather expert, our meteorologist. Chad, go ahead.
Senator, I'd be interested to know how they're paying for that flight, and here's why I'm asking. Every year, NOAA gets a budget to fly that plane 250 hours, and that's it. As of a couple days ago, it was already at 307 hours over budget now, so we're taking money from somewhere here. NOAA needs more money. How are you going to help us?
Well, we're going to have to provide the money, Chad, because this is a matter of life or death in the accurate prediction. And when you get an active hurricane season like this one, and here's another good example. I just said to Wolf that this hurricane hunter has got to go down on Sunday afternoon for maintenance. They don't have another one of these. And if we had a strong hurricane approaching Florida, we would be flying blind at that time without all of the accurate predictions. So this is one of the things we're just going to have to put more money into.
Thank you very much for that good response. That's the one I was looking for. I do know, though, that we're not taking all the planes out. The Air Force planes and the Core Puncher planes are still going to fly all weekend long, correct?
That is correct. They are being backed up, but they don't have a plane like this one. And this one is flying twice a day. It's flying back-to-back, 12-hour missions. The actual flight time is about 8.5 hours. And, you know, at some point, this equipment wears out, and you got to go in for maintenance.
All right, Senator, we're going to let you go back to work over there on that Hurricane Hunter. Senator Bill Nelson of Florida. Chad, stand by. We're going to be getting back to you. We're continuing our special coverage, all of our special coverage of Hurricane Wilma. We're watching what's going on. We'll take a quick break. More of our special coverage. Also, other important news we're following. A United Nations report directly accusing the Syrian government of complicity in the assassination of the former Lebanese prime minister and some 20 other people in Lebanon. We'll have a full report from Beirut, and the Syrian ambassador, Imad Mustafa, standing by here in the Situation Room to give us his response. Tom DeLay also weathering his first court appearance in his felony case. Should he be smiling, though? We'll have details on that. You're in the Situation Room.
I'm thinking of a number between 450 and 850. Do you know what it is? It's my credit score, and it happens to be 720. The higher my credit score, the better chance I have of saving a lot of money. Do you know your credit score? Do you know what's in your credit report? You can find out right now at freecreditreport.com. You can even print it out if you want to. How much easier could it get? Log on to freecreditreport.com. That's freecreditreport.com.
Offer applies with enrollment in Triple Advantage.
The White Sox represent the common man. It's old school and new school, and we bring it all together, and we make the 2005 White Sox the best team in the league.
Oh, there's a celebration at the plate.
I live for this.
Watch the World Series on Fox. Don't miss it.
At BASF, we don't make the sunscreen, we make it stronger. We don't make a lot of the products you buy, we make a lot of the products you buy better. BASF, the chemical company.
Happiness. Would you like some? Well, LensCrafters gives you an unconditional happiness guarantee. 30 days to wear your new glasses. And if they don't make you happy, exchange them till they do, or your money back. So why would you get your glasses anywhere but LensCrafters? And will anywhere else stay open late for you? LensCrafters does. Evenings, weekends, we'll be here with famous brands in 2000 styles. Most available in about an hour. Nobody beats LensCrafters' huge selection. Eye exam? You can have one today. Just walk right in. Happy yet? Thought so. Now where are you going to get your glasses? LensCrafters. You'll see. We're better.
Closed captioning provided by Head On PM, a new pain reliever sleep aid applied directly to the forehead.
Head On, introducing a new headache treatment applied directly to the forehead. How fast do you want relief from your headaches and migraines? Head On. It's safe and it really works. In stores now.
We have made it clear that the position of the United States is that there be no foreign involvement in Lebanon. The United Nations made that clear through Resolution 1559. And today a serious report came out that requires the world to look at it very carefully and respond accordingly.
President Bush speaking just a little while ago. He's urging the United Nations Security Council to take matters into its hands and to work very quickly. Let's get some details on the report's startling conclusions. Here's CNN's Beirut Bureau Chief, Brent Sadler, with a look at a story making news around the world.
Painstaking detective work by this team of UN investigators concludes what many Lebanese have suspected all along, that Syria, it's now officially claimed, played a decisive role in the assassination of former Prime Minister Rafik Hariri. The UN report, handed to Secretary General Kofi Annan in New York, contains a series of damning claims in some witness accounts. Item: Syrian President Bashar al-Assad's close relatives are implicated, it's alleged, by one unnamed witness, naming Assad's brother Maher and his brother-in-law Asif Shaukat, pillars of the Damascus security regime. Item: top Syrian officials, including Foreign Minister Farouk al-Shara, it's claimed, lied to investigators. Item: Syria's closest ally in Lebanon, President Emil Lahoud's mobile telephone received a suspicious call minutes before the massive bomb blast targeting Hariri's armoured motorcade. Lahoud's office denies the president himself received any such call. It is an astonishing dossier of evidence giving probable cause, states UN Chief Investigator Detlef Melis, to implicate Syrian security officials colluding with their Lebanese counterparts. Only last week, though, the Syrian president himself ruled out any possibility of Syrian involvement.
This is against our principle and my principle, and I would never do such a thing in my life.
But the UN report also now implicates Assad's former top security chief in Lebanon, General Rustam Ghazali, in the murder. It links his alleged involvement with the activities of these 4 pro-Syrian Lebanese security chiefs, arrested and charged some 6 weeks ago by the authorities here. While the UN report pinpoints the targeting of Rafik Hariri as most likely a political crime, a shadowy underworld of major fraud, corruption and money laundering here may also have contributed to his murder. This security camera captures the last movements of the Hariri convoy, including grainy images of a white pickup truck laden with explosives. Detonated, a witness claims, by an Iraqi suicide bomber, primed to believe he was attacking a top-ranking Iraqi politician. It may or may not contain the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. But it is a devastating report, insist anti-Syrian Lebanese political sources, that will eventually lead to trial. Brent Sadler, CNN, Beirut.
Let's get some reaction to the claims in the United Nations report. Joining us here in the Situation Room, Imad Mustafa. He's the Syrian ambassador to the United States. Mr. Ambassador, thanks very much for joining us. How plead you?
Syria has repeatedly said that we categorically had nothing whatsoever to do with the assassination of Rafik al-Hariri.
So is this United Nations report just making all this stuff up?
You know, this moment when Investigator Melis was handing the report to Kofi Annan, the Secretary General, reminded us of only one thing. When Secretary Powell stood in the Security Council, held up a report saying, these are the incriminating evidence that proves that Iraq had a huge arsenal of WMDs. This report is laden with inconsistencies, contradictions, and logical loopholes, and it has not a single shred of evidence, not a single fact.
Are you saying that Detlef Melis, the individual, a European, not an American, who was in charge of putting this report together, is lying?
No, I'm not saying this. I don't know anything about Detlef Melis. Anyone with simple logical analysis can read this report. It is available, and the report is an astounding report that accuses Syria of crimes that Syria has not committed, using shady stories, telltales, gossips, he said, she said, not a single substantial evidence leveled against Syria.
They accuse your boss, the foreign minister, Farouk al-Shara, of lying in his testimony before this committee. They wanted to interview the president, Bashar al-Assad. He refused.
The report is full of testimonials provided by shady people that have no credibility whatsoever, even as admitted by by the report itself. Yet the report shamelessly put their evidence and their testimonial. Let me tell you this.
Let me
it's so
interrupt you for a
important.
second, Mr. Ambassador. With
People
all due
should
respect,
understand.
do you believe it's possible that President Bashar al-Assad might be isolated, that he himself may not have known what some of his top security and intelligence operatives were up to in wanting to kill Rafiq Hariri?
For the sake of the argument, let me say this. President Assad has said to CNN and to the world that we have every interest in revealing the truth of the assassination of Hariri. Anyone who has contributed to this crime should be punished. If he is a Syrian, this is equal to high treason. What I'm trying to say is the following. This report did not contribute whatsoever to revealing the truth. Actually, it added to the myth and to the hype and to the lies.
I read the report too, and there was a chilling passage when Rafiq Hariri was basically warned by Syrian operatives and their Lebanese allies, you better shut up, you better play ball with Damascus, otherwise we're going to kill you. You read that.
These are absolute lies. We challenge Meles to release what he described as a taped interview in which he said that the Syrian deputy foreign minister threatened Hariri. This cannot happen. It did not happen, and we will stand by this. Let me say this to you. We have an interest in revealing the truth. We want the truth to be revealed, but this report cannot be submitted to any court in the world. Let me say this. Here in the West,
it will be submitted to the United Nations Security Council, and now the Security Council will determine what steps, if any, to take. Some of the options, clearly economic sanctions against Syria, political isolation against Syria, and down the road, potentially military action.
Look, this is a flagrantly politicized report. We thought that this report will be about truth, about judicial facts, about evidence. Nothing whatsoever is in this report except for rumors and telltales. They are trying to implicate Syria politically. What we want to say is other countries that are represented in the United Nations Security Council will read this report. It will be so easy. Anyone can read this report and easily detect the contradictions and the logical inconsistencies.
Syria will have its day in court, as they say. It will be before the UN Security Council, and we'll wait anxiously to get to that day. Ambassador, kind of you to join us.
Thank you.
You got a tough assignment here in Washington.
Thank you very much.
Imad Mustafa is the Syrian ambassador to the United States. Up next, we'll bring you up to speed on Hurricane Wilma as it's roaring over the island of Cozumel. We'll go there live. Stay with us.
Around the World is brought to you by Orbitz.com. Log on to Orbitz.com today. Book your hotel and flight together and save. It's that easy. Orbitz and go.
He's a computer science professor from Iowa. He's slightly distracted. And this is Take On Orbit, the game that pits other travel services against Orbitz.com.
Today's contestants need a hotel in Hawaii for under $100 with a golf course. Ready? Go.
Hotel reservations.
Yes.
Done.
Orbitz makes it easy to find the right hotel at a great price.
Log on to OrbitZGames.com for your chance to be a daily winner of free travel. Visit OrbitZGames.com today.
They say he's a newsman on a mission. He gives both sides a fair shot. These days, who can you trust? Lou Dobbs Tonight. CNN Tonight, 6 Eastern.
If you have one of these, you can save lots of this on auto insurance by using one of these to call Unitrin Direct. Unitrin Direct Auto Insurance is available in Oregon. You could save hundreds of dollars or more without sacrificing service.
Yes, Unitrin Direct Auto Insurance is available in Oregon. That means you can save up to 20% or more on auto insurance. But unlike those cut-rate companies, you don't have to give up service. In fact, you'll have your own team of professionals to answer your questions or handle your claims. You don't have to give up security either. We're part of the top-rated Unitrin Insurance family with over 70 years of experience and over $7 billion in assets. Call this number now for a free, no-obligation rate quote and see how much you could save.
So if you think your auto insurance rates are too high, call Unitrin Direct now for a free no-obligation rate quote and see just how much money you could save. The right price, the right protection, the right choice. Unitrin Direct.
Call 1-800-538-0872 now.
Beaverton Honda continues to be the only dealership in Oregon to take the guesswork completely out of buying a pre-owned car with our 6-month, 6,000-mile warranty and our 7-day right of exchange. And look at these values, like this 99 Honda Accord EX, it's the top of the line, moonroof, all the equipment, only $89.77, or this 01 Civic LX power windows, lock, steering, $89.77. The October pre-owned sale is on at Beaverton Honda Used Cars. Come see us.
Is it movie premiere night? When you see searchlights in the sky, there's a new movie premiering on Comcast On Demand. And you have a chance to win a home theater system from Circuit City and Comcast with the Comcast Searchlight Sweepstakes. The winner also gets 2 pizzas a month for a year from Round Table Pizza. So when you see those searchlights, go to Comcast On Demand and choose movie, select Searchlight, and see how to enter to win. Don't have Comcast Digital? Just follow the searchlights to Circuit City to see a demo or call us at 1-800-COMCAST.
The weather is the news. Trust CNN. It's essential.
Get some live pictures coming in from Cancun right now. We'll put those up on the screen, show our viewers what's happening. Hurricane Wilma, Category 4 storm, pounding the Yucatan, the tourist resort towns. Cozumel, Cancun. These are some of the pictures that we're just getting in right now. Stephanie Hagan is in Cozumel. She's joining us on the phone. Stephanie, what's it like where you are?
It's pretty scary. I mean, it's very, very windy. The winds are ripping. There's water all over. A couple of cars here and there. You really can't get through any of the streets. Car overturned. Concrete walls have fallen down.
Are you in? What kind of building are you inside of, Stephanie?
I'm in a house, but I live in a concrete house. Most of the houses here are okay because they're built out of concrete, and there's very little glass. We have one glass, sliding door, and that's okay, but it's protected.
What can you see outside? Describe the scenes that you're seeing.
I can see. I'm going to walk over to the window, but I can see. I'm afraid to open any windows except for one. And it's you can see the winds really, really just ripping, and I'll give you a report. Buildings are, smaller buildings, and there's a lot of areas here that are kind of empty lots or lots with a lot of debris. And those have walls around them, and some of the walls are falling, trees are falling.
Well, under the circumstances, Stephanie, you're remarkably calm. Good luck to you. Be careful over there. Stephanie is in Cozumel. Let's move up to Cancun. Our Susan Candiotti is there. What's it like in Cancun right now, Susan?
Well, I'm hoping that you can hear me, which is why I have the microphone so close to my mouth. But as you can see, over my shoulder, I can best compare this to a whiteout in a blizzard. The roar from the wind is quite remarkable, and as you can clearly see, those palm trees are butt straight over. This is the strongest part of the storm that we have felt throughout the day. Very, very powerful, as the R wall is as close to us as it probably has been. We are experiencing a storm surge that's probably at least 11 feet. You can't see the wave because it is so white out there, as best I can put it. The roads are impassable in many areas. Remember, I am standing on a hotel that is about 27 feet above sea level, and the hotel guests have been moved to hotels in downtown Cancun. Liz, can you still hear me?
Yes, Susan, we hear you. I just want to make sure that you're safe where you are. Are you safe?
We are. Yes, we are. We are in a hotel. The structure seems to be sound. Yes, they're losing a few windows. And for example, they've got a sky roof that has been blown out and is crashing. You can hear loud noises, but the overall structure appears to be sound. But it is a very good thing and a very wise move that a Brody Pier moved out all of the hotel staff. There is a skeleton staff here, But we feel secure in this area, Walt.
All right, Susan, be careful over there. We're going to check back with you. Susan Candiotti, our woman on the scene in Cancun, where it's horrible right now, probably going to get worse before it gets better. We're watching the storm. We're tracking it. Up next, Tom DeLay also. He seems to be all smiles in court today. Did the indicted congressman help himself politically? Our analysis, that's coming up in the Situation Room. Carlos Watson standing by.
Your challenge, get the right forces there as fast as you can.
Tail emerging from concealment.
Transmit alarm ready. Achieve air dominance. Engage the right targets with pinpoint precision. Force application. Precision engagement. Decisions made possible by net-centric systems, turning data into knowledge and knowledge into action.
Target destroyed.
Lockheed Martin.
Transmit all clear.
We never forget who we're working for.
From the band that defined hard rock, Def Leppard, Rock of Ages, 35 hits on 2 CDs, plus their brand new single, No Matter What.
No matter what you are, I will always be with you.
Plus, see Def Leppard live on tour now. Def Leppard, Rock of Ages, in stores now.
Introducing the extraordinary E-Trade Complete. Be brilliant with your banking, trading, and investing all on one page. Be visionary and see where your money might be falling through the cracks and exactly how to stop it. Be all-powerful with a revolutionary security device that changes your password every 60 seconds. In other words, be master of your domain.
Oh, there's my earring.
At E-Trade Financial, we keep challenging the ordinary to help investors be extraordinary.
Resilient fabrics. Insulation that shrugs off the weather. Energy-saving appliances. Durable surroundings. How do you make all of that happen? With the right chemistry. Improving the things we all need is a goal to live by, and it's ours. Dow. Living improved daily.
You were there when I was feeling on top of the world. And you were there when I was where I was when I fell in love with you.
Congressman Tom DeLay, the former majority leader of the House, today appeared in court for the first time as a criminal defendant. Outside of court, he had this to say.
This morning I appeared before the court, and through motions I emphatically stated what I have maintained all along during this unfortunate episode. I have committed no wrongdoing.
Our political analyst Carlos Watson has been following the DeLay case. Carlos, you watched what was going on. What struck you?
Two things, Wolf. One is that as you start to look at the poll numbers especially, Tom DeLay is becoming radioactive. 18% favorability numbers versus 45% unfavorable. And that's very close to where we saw Newt Gingrich shortly before he stepped down almost 6 or 7 years ago. Gingrich was at 51%. So keep watching that number. The second and final thing is that, remember, Democrats may not be the biggest beneficiaries if Tom DeLay goes down. Instead, Republican nervousness may make them turn to, if you will, the McCain, Powell, Hagel wing of the party, and so you may begin to see that maverick wing of the party really begin to assert itself. So don't assume the Democrats would be the only beneficiaries.
Carlos, everybody here in Washington, at least inside the Beltway, all the political types, they're bracing for possible indictments next week in the CIA leak story. What are your thoughts?
Could be a huge psychological moment, maybe as significant if you go back to 1968, Wolf, the New Hampshire primary, President Johnson running, if you will, against Eugene McCarthy. Eugene McCarthy does unexpectedly well there. You may see the same thing here where if there's a surprising indictment, you may see lots of Democrats step forward as candidates who weren't going to run previously in 2006.
And very quickly, Carlos, Harriet Miyer's nomination to the Supreme Court, how much trouble is she in?
Hearing is huge. She's got to do three things. One, prove that she's smart. Dan Quayle couldn't do that. Two, she's got to humanize herself. A lot of ways to do that and talk about family like Janet Reno did. And last but not least, she may need to say back off. in the way that Clarence Thomas talked about a high-tech lynching, or Ronald Reagan said, I paid for this microphone.
Carlos, thanks very much. Quickly, I want to go to Jackie Schechtner for an update on Hurricane Wilma pounding Cancun right now. Jackie?
Really fast, want to show you Kevin in Cancun, who was posting via generator DSL line laptop before picture. This is the after photo. Same thing. Take a look. Once again, the before shot in Cancun. Now he's posted the after photo. You can see the damage being done. We're going to keep an eye on Kevin, see how he's doing.
Jackie, thank you very much. We're in the Situation Room weekdays, 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern. I'm Wolf Blitzer in Washington. This note, stay with CNN throughout the weekend for all the latest on Hurricane Wilma. I'll be covering it extensively on Late Edition at our new time, 11 a.m. Eastern. Till then, thanks very much for watching. Lou Dobbs Tonight starts right now. He's standing by in New York. Hi, Lou.
Thank you, Wolf. Good evening, everybody. Tonight, trouble at the White House. President Bush finishes yet another messy week in Washington with Supreme Court nominee Harriet Miers still being heavily scrutinized and criticized. 1 week from today, special counsel Patrick Fitzgerald's grand jury expires. Bush advisor Karl Rove and Louis Scooter Libby have both been advised they may be in serious legal jeopardy. And on this Friday, former House Majority Leader Tom DeLay and Bush ally made the first of what could be many appearances in a Texas courtroom charged with conspiracy and money laundering. We have comprehensive coverage tonight from Washington, D.C. and Austin, Texas. But we begin with Hurricane Wilma. Tonight, lashing Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula with powerful winds, torrential rains, and 20-foot waves, stranding thousands of American tourists as well. Wilma is a highly dangerous Category 4 storm now, with sustained winds of 140 miles an hour. The hurricane is likely to smash into Florida's heavily populated south coast on Monday. Emergency officials today issued the first evacuation orders for parts of the Florida mainland. Susan Candiotti in Cancun, Mexico, reports on Hurricane Wilma's destructive trail across the peninsula. Lucia Newman reports from Havana, Cuba, where as many as 500,000 people are being evacuated from Wilma's expected path. Sophia Choi reports from Naples, Florida, where residents are already making preparations for the arrival of the hurricane. And Chad Myers reporting from the CNN Hurricane Center on the force, the size, and direction of Wilma as it moves northward. But first, we go to Cancun, Mexico, and Susan Candiotti. Susan, just how much damage is this massive storm now causing?
Well, we won't know until this thing blows over, Lou, but I can tell you not since Emily, which did at least $96 million of damage, has this area felt winds so strong. As you look behind me, the ocean is right over my shoulder, but you wouldn't know it. It's almost like a whiteout from a blizzard. The roar of the wind is so strong, I can barely hear myself talk. It has gotten progressively worse throughout the day. We did take an opportunity earlier to drive around some of the roads impassable. However, the hotels appeared at that time to be holding up. This is a strip of hotels, luxury hotels, that many of your viewers might be familiar with in Cancun, and a very smart decision by authorities to move them out of here yesterday. Some people lucky enough to get out at the airport. Others were bused to shelters, schools, as well as other hotels in the center of the city, about a half an hour away from here, where they are sharing facilities with other hotel guests and are in ballrooms. Trust me, a lot of those people wanted to get out, but could not. The storm surge is supposed to be at least 11 feet. I can't tell what it is at this point, but the winds are extremely strong. They were expecting up to 20 inches of rain by the time I was out. The eye wall, we believe, is right near us at this hour. It is really whipping out. This hotel in particular, 27 feet above sea level, and the sky roof that is above a colonnade sort of in the interior of this area. The windows smashed out. They have been hearing them crash, and but they have moved the skeleton crew that was here to a hotel next door. We do believe that the structure here appears to be strong, and so this is where we feel relatively safe riding out the rest of the storm. Lou?
Susan, thank you very much. Susan Candiotti from the center of this storm, now hitting Cancun, Mexico, obviously with very powerful winds and a great deal of rain. Cuba to the north has already evacuated 300,000 people from coastal areas. Another 200,000 are being ordered now to leave their homes. Hurricane Wilma is likely to cross western Cuba Saturday as it moves north toward Florida. Lucia Newman reports from Havana now. Lucia.
Hello, Lou. Well, we're being told now that this hurricane is moving so slowly that it might not even be until Sunday when it reaches the western tip of this island. But in the meantime, it's already raining very, very heavily on that western tip, especially in Pinar del Rio province, where at least 300,000 people, as you mentioned, have already been evacuated. Here in Havana, it's been raining on and off. It rained most of last night. It's expected to do the same this evening, and tomorrow that rain will become more intense. Authorities are taking absolutely no chances, Lou. They're evacuating people because, according to their meteorologists here, they're still going to be getting waves up to 20 feet high, especially that rain that's still in the Yucatan Peninsula starts coming over on the western tip. And the real nervousness here comes from the fact that nobody knows exactly what route it's going to take when it finally starts moving in this direction, Lou.
Lucia, thank you very much. Lucia Newman reporting from Havana. In Florida, officials there issued the first evacuation orders for the mainland. Many residents of the Florida Keys have already left their homes and businesses. Governor Jeb Bush has declared a state of emergency, and he called up more than 7,000 National Guard troops in preparation for the storm's arrival. Sophia Choi reports from Naples, Florida.
Businesses begin to board up as tourist destinations shut down in Naples, where a mandatory evacuation is in effect. Outsiders were ordered out, but many of those who call this area home are staying put for now.
We just don't know where it's going, so it's frustrating to be in limbo.
Mandatory evacuations for residents of the Keys are postponed, but officials are still encouraging people to leave.
We really want everybody in the Florida Keys and the southern portion of the Florida Peninsula to pay very, very close attention to this. We're almost used to surprises with these hurricanes.
Right now, Wilma is hovering over the Yucatan Peninsula. Experts say it could be there for days. The longer, the better for Floridians, as time over land will cause the storm to lose intensity. Florida Gulf Coast University in Southwest Florida is playing it safe, already canceling classes through Sunday, probably longer.
It happens quite often here in this area. We had a couple closings last year too, so we're getting used to it now.
It's a routine getting more familiar to all of us. Evacuee traffic increases as gas supplies decrease in an area awaiting a monster storm. Collier County officials are preparing for a Cat 3 storm, which could bring anywhere from 8 to 15 or 16 feet of storm surge. Now, Naples is about 9 feet above sea level, so if you do the math, you can see how flooding and damage is a very real possibility. In Naples, I'm Sophia Choi.
For the latest now on the direction, the force, and size of this hurricane, we go to Chad Myers at the CNN Hurricane Center. Chad, this storm is moving unusually slowly. What can you tell us about the path of the storm and its intensity at this hour?
In fact, Lou, it's probably even slowed down, slower than 4 miles per hour, where it was at the 2 o'clock advisory and at the 5 o'clock advisory. What Lucia and what all those people, what they were all seeing now is what they're going to see for a real long time. Susan Candiotti, if this storm is only moving 3 miles per hour for you and a just measured wind gust in Cancun at 97 miles per hour, you may have that wind in Cancun for the next 6 hours. Now, that's duration damage. One shingle comes off and then that tears another one, and then you lose another one. Then you start to lose the facade. As the storm goes by at 10 miles or 20 miles per hour, it's a quick hit. But when this wind, Lou, at 130 to 140 miles per hour continues all night long, the damage is there in Cancun and Cozumel, really going to be sustained and heavy. A Category 1 by the time it exits the Cancun area, up to a Category 2 in the Gulf of Mexico, and then making landfall on Monday, back as a Category 1, but somewhere between 80 and 90 miles per hour. Nothing to take for granted. The right side of the eye wall will be the most dangerous. And when it crosses the Everglades, basically, that's not going to slow it down at all. A lot of damage from the backside, from the wrong way, if you will, all the way from about West Palm down through Fort Lauderdale and even into Miami-Dade as well.
Lou? It's expected, Chad, landfall on the western coast of Florida then?
Yes, that is exactly correct. As about a Category 1 between 80 and 90 miles per hour. Now, if it does hit south of Naples, and Naples and Fort Myers will be on the easy side of the eye because you add the wind speed. When a storm is spinning 90 miles per hour, let's say, and it's moving ahead at 20, you have to add those two numbers together on the right side of the path. So 110 mile per hour wind gusts. On the other side, you subtract that, 90 minus 20, because the winds are going in different directions. So you only get a 70 mile per hour wind gust on the easy side, so to speak, of the eye. But then again, New Orleans was on the easy side of Katrina.
Chad Myers, thank you very much. More on the hurricane coming up here. As well, dozens of illegal aliens have been arrested for sex crimes, a shocking example of our immigration crisis and our total lack of border security. We'll have a special report for you, and a vast influx of illegal aliens into the Gulf states, taking those reconstruction jobs from local residents. Reverend Jesse Jackson has just returned from Louisiana. He's our guest here. And the Coast Guard seizing record quantities of cocaine at sea. How drug smugglers are flooding this country with cocaine. We'll have that report for you coming right up.
Yeah, hi. I want to ladder out some fixed income, and I'd like you to work the VWAP on a block.
Yeah, just a minute.
Okay.
Hey, clueless slacker.
Hey, wet behind the ears.
There's this guy on the phone, and he's on a ladder, and he wants to rap something.
All right, here's what you do. Put him on hold, play some elevator music, and he'll hang up eventually.
So I hang up.
Hold music.
Get serious. Get Brownco, where experienced investors get experienced service and a focus on execution. Brownco, a broker service of JP Morgan Asset Management.
Protect your family with life insurance from Prudential.
Hey, Dad, what's life insurance?
Well, life insurance is something parents buy. So in case something happens to them, you kids will be okay.
Oh. Do we have life insurance?
Fred. Yeah. The printer's down.
Can you help?
I can try, but I'm gonna need complete silence. So much pain. So much pain. There.
Is it fixed?
Oh, it's fried. But I'll get a new one from CDW tomorrow.
Nobody responds like CDW. With fast shipping on top brand technology, you get what you need when you need it. CDW, the right technology, right away.
Hey, Fred, can you take a look at my wire? I'll need complete silence.
Soto and Partners.
McPhee and Associates, King Brokers.
Hello.
Hi.
Now with free incoming plans from Sprint Business, it's easier to say yes when customers call. And with our buy one, get one free deal, you and your company can say yes. Sprint Business gives you free incoming calls from all phones, all networks, all the time. So you can make just about any place a workplace. Call 877-82-SPRINT or visit a Sprint or Nextel store today. Sprint Business. Yes, you can.
Katrina. We were there when it hit, when it was over. We asked the tough questions and demanded answers. We're there now and will stay as the Gulf states rebuild. It's what you expect. It's why we're here. CNN.
In Iraq today, 4 American troops were killed in combat in 2 separate incidents. 3 Marines were killed by a roadside bomb in Al Anbar province. American troops killed 2 insurgents and captured 4 more believed to be responsible for that bombing. In Hit, a U.S. soldier was killed by what the military called indirect fire. A total of 1,989 of our troops have now been killed in Iraq. The United States has frequently accused Syria of supporting terrorism in Iraq and elsewhere. Now, the United Nations is accusing top Syrian officials of being involved in the assassination of a former Lebanese prime minister. But it turns out the names of those Syrian officials were deleted from the final draft of the UN report, and there is tonight no clear explanation as to why that was done. Kitty Pilgrim reports.
Former Prime Minister of Lebanon, Rafik Hariri, was killed along with 20 others in February. Today, a UN report says Syria played a major role in the assassination. President Bush called the report deeply disturbing.
I called Secretary Rice this morning and instructed her to call upon the United Nations to convene a session as quickly as possible.
The UN report, at least the early version, says Syrian President Bashar al-Assad's brother and brother-in-law are implicated. Those names were deleted from a later version.
I really don't want to create the impression that anyone influenced this report, because this is simply not true.
But despite that debate over deleted names, U.S. officials are clear in their accusation of Syria.
The assassination could not have been undertaken without the knowledge of senior figures in Syrian intelligence.
The United States is asking for support from the world community against Syria and its policy of allowing insurgents to travel through its porous border to fight U.S. forces in Iraq. U.S. Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice made an unannounced trip to New York to meet with Secretary General Kofi Annan earlier this week, before the report came out. And she had harsh words against Syria in Senate testimony earlier this week.
Our policy towards Syria is on the table, and that is we want change in Syrian behavior. We want a change in Syrian behavior on the Iraqi border.
I understand that.
In regards to Lebanon, in regards to the Palestinian.
Are we considering military action against Syria?
Senator, I'm not going to get into what the president's options might be.
Now, Syrian officials spent the day calling the report inaccurate and biased. The Syrian ambassador denied that Syria tried to impede the investigation. However, U.S. Ambassador John Bolton said what is important is to focus on the substance of what is in the report, which is dramatic news about the extent of Syrian involvement in this assassination, Lou.
Well, Ambassador Bolton couldn't be more correct. In point of fact, this is as straightforward, even with the names deleted, as straightforward an effort at investigation by the United Nations that I can recall anywhere at any time.
It is very shocking, and more will come. A second report is coming out next Tuesday on the situation, so we will have more.
Laying clearly at the feet of the Syrian and the Lebanese intelligence agencies' responsibility for the assassination of Prime Minister Hariri. The deleted names. When will we have an explanation as to what in the world happened there?
They spent all day trying to get to the bottom of that, and I don't think there is a timetable on that, but many people are asking why they were taken out of a report that was widely circulated and then deleted.
We'll continue to add our voice to those questioning what that is all about and why. Thank you very much, Kitty Pilgrim. Turning now to violent crimes in this country carried out by, in this case, illegal aliens. There is shocking new evidence tonight as to how our nation's immigration laws have failed to protect American citizens from violent criminals. Illegal aliens that should have been locked up have been accused of carrying out disgusting sex crimes and effectively getting away with it. Christine Romans reports.
A big week for nabbing illegal alien sexual predators.
We stopped these predators in their tracks, and the public safety of New York City is better off for it.
In New York this week, 36 rapists and child molesters arrested, all in the country illegally, arrested along with at least a dozen permanent legal residents. More troubling, many of these criminal alien sex offenders were free on the streets on probation.
These dangerous sexual predators should never have been placed on probation. They are unable to meet one of the most basic conditions of probation, legal employment.
Critics say it's yet another example of a broken immigration system, that judges are putting illegal aliens on probation, that sanctuary laws in some states prevent law enforcement from even asking a defendant his legal status because of fears it might be discriminatory. Critics blame policymakers, not immigration agents, and say there's no political will to enforce immigration laws or deport illegal aliens.
Our immigration system is in a shambles. The agencies are overwhelmed. The administration seems completely absent on any sort of enforcement effort. Congress is being extremely irresponsible.
Case in point, he says, a Senate Judiciary Committee moved this week to hand out 30,000 more temporary work visas so companies can hire foreign workers for American jobs, adding even more work to an already overburdened agency. Still, even immigration critics are pleased that 50 criminal alien sex offenders were taken off the streets this week in New York, of 3,100 criminal alien sex arrests in just over 2 years.
Of course, these arrests and deportations only help public safety if the government makes sure they don't come right back into the country. A success today on the border in Arizona, a Mexican national illegally entering this country. He was stopped and identified as a man deported in 1981 for having sex with a child. But the question is, how many other dangerous criminals didn't get stopped and made it through without any trouble, Lou?
And unfortunately, the answer to that question is, in terms of estimates, quite large in terms of the population of criminal illegal aliens, as they are called, who have committed serious crimes and sex offenses. The idea that this country continues to tolerate a border that is absolutely wide open, whether it to be terrorists, to illegal aliens, to sex offenders, to criminals of all sorts, is extraordinary.
You see by the action from the Senate this week that their concern seems to be making sure that there are workers for companies, not to enforce immigration laws that are already on the books.
And as Christine Romans reported this week, there is no accounting for most of those receiving visas in this country. Our immigration officials, our State Department, our Homeland Security Department, none have an accurate count as to the number, the names, or the whereabouts of most of those. Christine Romans, thank you very much. That brings us to the subject of our poll tonight. The question is, should sanctuary laws that prevent the apprehension of illegal aliens be abolished? Yes or no? Please cast your vote at LouDobbs.com. We'll have the results here later in the broadcast. Still ahead, a major cocaine bust. Remember the war on drugs? Well, it's still underway. 11 tons of cocaine seized in the Pacific by the Coast Guard. $750 million of the drug that will never hit our streets. And a miserable week for President Bush, an even worse one could be ahead. We will be talking with our newsmaker panel tonight, and Hurricane Wilma. It's battering Mexico right now. Forecasters say it's on its way to Florida. But when and what force will it bring with it? A live update coming up next.
CNN Tonight, all new at 7. Bracing for Wilma, a massive storm. Weekend levees. Is a repeat of Katrina on the horizon? Anderson Cooper, live from Florida, tracking the storm. CNN Tonight, 7 Eastern.
I love St. Andrews, and I wanted to win at St. Andrews very badly.
It is a lot of mental thing. I think, a lot of people can hit a 300-yard drive down the middle of the fairway. But when it comes to crunch time, whether they can do it then, that's another story.
I hit the putt, it snuck into the right side of the hole, and I was the Open champion.
Like Jack Nicklaus, the Royal Bank of Scotland Group know it's never good enough just to talk a good game. You have to play a good game. Make it happen.
I just hope this Brian guy is not a jerk.
His name's not Brian.
It's not?
What is it, Bob? No.
I know it starts with a B, right? Ben?
No.
It's it Bill, right?
Yeah.
Is it Bill?
No.
Brady?
No.
Blake?
No.
Have a nice flight, and go easy on Steven.
Steven. I knew it.
Whatever.
We know why you fly. We're American Airlines. And when you fly American, get our lowest fares at AA.com, guaranteed.
It's time people who get loans are treated fairly. That's why eLoan has no lender fees. Check out our current monthly refinancing options. Those are some of the revolutionary ways we're changing the lending industry. eLoan. Radically simple.
CNN Tonight, exclusive. Famed attorney Robert Shapiro and his wife Linnell. Their first interview on their son's tragic drug overdose death at 24. Larry King, CNN Tonight, 9 Eastern.
Some stores advertise $6.99 memory foam.
When you get to the other store, you're shocked to find out it's a twin size.
Mattress World doesn't play those games. We've got this queen set right here for just $6.99.
And get free delivery and no interest, no payments for 1 full year.
If we can't beat any price on any comparable mattress, then the mattress is free.
It's not too late to sleep like a baby. Mattress World.
Mattress World, 185th and Cornell, next to Burger King.
Think you found the best way to keep track of what's on this month? Think again. There's an easier way to follow what's on TV with Channel Guide magazine. Never miss your favorites with Channel Guide's easy-to-read grids, including local programs. Plus, you'll find every movie on cable from A to Z and get the scoop on the best shows, stars, and more. So make a note to ask your cable company for Channel Guide. It may be the last note you'll ever make.
Weather is the news. Trust CNN. It's essential.
Many forget that this country is still engaged in a vast war on drugs. It is a battle that is not often a winning battle for the United States, and it is a constant reminder of our porous borders and our lack of security not only at the border but at our ports. Over the past 12 months, some 330 tons of cocaine, with an estimated street value of nearly $20 billion, has made it onto our streets. Today, drug officials announced a record-breaking cocaine bust in California, one they say will make a dent in the staggering flow of drugs across our broken borders. Casey Wyan reports.
Bale after bale of cocaine seized from a Colombian fishing vessel and 2 flagless smuggling ships, all bound for the United States. The ships carried a total of 11.5 tons of cocaine, with a street value of $750 million.
I'll tell you, it's destined for the streets of America, and those streets can be anywhere across our entire country. It's grown in South America and comes up through distribution chains. You know, the drug guys have a business, and their business is to distribute. And so this would have gone all across America.
Most of the cocaine destined for the United States comes from Colombia, and most of that is shipped by sea, then by land through Mexico. In the past year, maritime cocaine seizures by the Coast Guard set a record, 156 tons worth nearly $10 billion. That's up 32% from the previous year. While seizures are up, the numbers game continues to favor drug smugglers. Nearly 2/3 of the cocaine bound for this country escapes seizure. That means about 330 tons finds its way onto U.S. streets every year. For the Coast Guard, the task is complicated by its added responsibilities as part of the Department of Homeland Security. On top of its traditional duties, it's fighting drug smuggling, human trafficking and terrorism, providing port and coastline security, and rescuing hurricane victims. Coast Guard is receiving more resources, including a $500 million budget increase this year and next. The question is, will that be enough to keep up with the drug smugglers and other threats from overseas, Lou?
Again, as persuasive an argument as one could imagine as to the need for border security and port security, which this nation, for this government, I should not say nation, this government continues to avoid. Right. Casey, thank you very much. Casey Wyan. As we have been reporting to you, the Minuteman Project is now 6 months old, and it is expanding. This weekend, volunteers are expected to be patrolling New York State's border with Canada. The group will be based near Messina and the St. Regis Indian Reservation. And now an update on our top story tonight, Hurricane Wilma, which tonight made landfall on the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. The eye of the storm passing over the island of Cozumel first, pounding that area with torrential rains and sustained winds of up to 140 miles an hour. The National Hurricane Center is now saying the storm is an extremely dangerous Category 4 hurricane. We'll be taking you back live to Chad Myers at the CNN Hurricane Center here in just a few minutes, and bringing also you the very latest information on this storm. Just ahead tonight, another bad week at the White House. It could actually get worse. Most expect it to do so. I'll be talking with 2 former presidential advisors and a leading political columnist here next. And Tom DeLay has the first of what is likely to be many appearances in a courtroom. But the proceedings today hit a snag. We're live with the story in Austin, Texas. And the Reverend Jesse Jackson among the millions of Americans now outraged at the wages being paid to workers rebuilding the Gulf Coast. Outraged that many of those workers are not even in this country legally, and that residents of Louisiana are being shut out of the federal reconstruction project. Reverend Jackson has just returned this hour from New Orleans. He joins us next. Stay with us.
What does the future hold? Will you have the choices to make your world better? To live the life you dream of? At Pacific Life, planning for a better tomorrow is what we're all about. That's why for over 135 years, Pacific Life has offered millions of people a world of financial solutions to help them live well now and plan well for the future. Ask your financial professional about Pacific Life, the power to help you succeed.
Wherever hope is the only thing left, wherever lives can be turned right side up, wherever natural disasters call for acts of God, that is where your donations to the Salvation Army go. Help those who have been affected by Hurricane Katrina. Donate today at 1-800-SAL-ARMY or salvationarmyusa.org.
CNN CNN Tonight, exclusive. Famed attorney Robert Shapiro and his wife Linnell. Their first interview on their son's tragic drug overdose death at 24. An intense, emotional hour with attorney Robert Shapiro and his wife. Larry King Live. CNN Tonight, 9 Eastern. CNN Tonight, all new at 10. Hurricane Wilma heading toward Florida. A new tool to help you. Inside the latest trend in weather forecasting. CNN Tonight, 10 Eastern.
My parents retired on just their pension. For me, I know even 401ks and IRAs won't be enough.
Stocks and bonds alone aren't enough anymore.
My dad put 4 of us through college by investing. Even with just 2 kids, we're planning beyond stocks and bonds.
At Merrill Lynch, we'll help all your money work harder by working together. Cash, investments, mortgages, retirement. That's Total Merrill.
The White House today asserted that Supreme Court nominee Harriet Miers has no plans whatsoever to stop visiting with U.S. senators, even though many of those senators are now expressing skepticism, some outright opposition to her nomination. The Miers nomination is only one of a number of major difficulties now facing the White House as it tries to combat impressions the Bush presidency is out of touch, adrift, and on the verge of President Bush being rendered a lame duck. Dana Bash reports from the White House.
At the Reagan Library, a nostalgic tribute to the Kipper. The irony here is a lesson Republicans learned from Ronald Reagan is causing one of this president's many headaches. Don't trust Supreme Court picks with thin records. The White House tried to relaunch Harriet Miers' embattled nomination this week by talking up her resume instead of her religion. But several GOP sources tell CNN her meetings with key senators looking for evidence she grasps complex constitutional issues did not go well, producing lukewarm statements like this.
But it certainly isn't determinative in terms of where I may end up coming down on this.
One longtime Bush family friend compared picking the unknown Miers to putting Dan Quayle on the ticket, a decision by an insulated staff who didn't contemplate how hard it would be to sell. But privately, some Bush aides admit a key problem lies in their own ill-prepared, even clumsy sales plan.
I think it's been a chaotic process, very candidly.
An exasperated Bush source said this: no one is in charge. Top aides are overwhelmed with monumental troubles, from hurricane missteps to the war in Iraq to a criminal investigation. And some Republicans say the president's sinking approval means he's lost his leverage. Simmering frustration is now bubbling over.
I think this White House, unfortunately, has come across as very arrogant, and so they have a lot of people that are pretty angry at him.
It's taking a toll inside the White House. A former senior Bush official told CNN the circle around the president is too small, top aides have been in their jobs too long, and they're tired. And the biggest source of anxiety is something they cannot control, whether Karl Rove or any other key figures will soon be indicted.
I do not think that they're letting the nervousness that might be there about the special prosecutor interfere with getting their jobs done.
But with rampant speculation about everything from potential criminal charges to who would replace Karl Rove if necessary, in the words of one source close to the White House, this is not a very happy place to be. Lou?
Dana, thank you very much. Dana Bash from the White House. For at least one ally of the president, the day not much better for him. In fact, in many ways, much worse. A close ally of the president, former House Majority Leader Tom DeLay, was in a Texas courtroom today facing charges of conspiracy and money laundering. But the case was immediately adjourned after Tom DeLay's attorney declared that the judge had contributed money to MoveOn.org, one of the most liberal groups in the country. DeLay and his attorney have already accused the prosecutor in this case, also a Democrat, of blatant partisanship. Sean Caleb's reports from Austin.
Why is this man smiling? This while facing 2 criminal indictments in a Texas court.
You may be surprised to hear this from me today, but I find this is a very good day. For the first time in over 3 years, I was provided the opportunity to go before a court and refute these baseless charges.
Charges which former House Majority Leader Tom DeLay says are wrong and politically motivated.
This is what Ronnie Earl wanted.
DeLay's attorney, Dick DeGuerin, spent the brief hearing pursuing his claim that his client is the victim of pure politics. He filed a motion to have the judge, Bob Perkins, remove himself from the case, a request a senior judge will rule on. In Texas, judges run for office, and Judge Perkins ran as a Democrat. DeLay's lawyer also pointed out that Perkins donated money to presidential candidate John Kerry, the Democratic National Committee, and gave $200 to MoveOn.org, an organization DeLay's attorney says is hostile to his client.
The judge has every right to be a Democrat or a Republican. That's not what it's about. It's about Judge Perkins having actively supported people who are in opposition to Congressman DeLay.
DeLay is charged with money laundering and conspiracy. The charges state that a political action committee formed by DeLay and two others illegally funneled money from corporations to Republican candidates running for state offices. Prosecutor Ronnie Earl has been investigating the allegations for 3 years. He wants Judge Perkins to remain on the case.
The judge has a record of fairness to all who come before his bench. And again, membership in a political party does not determine the quality of justice in this country.
DeLay's legal team fired the first salvo, but didn't stop there. They went on to say after 3 years of leaks and innuendo, they believe it is impossible for DeLay to get a fair trial here in the Democratic stronghold of Travis County, and they are asking for a change of venue. At the same time, Dick DeGuerin went on to say that he believes this case has no merit, and Lou, he believes it should be thrown out.
And he wants a judge not from Travis County, presumably not a Democrat, to hear that argument for his very Republican client.
Exactly, but he didn't phrase it just like that.
Okay. Sean Calebs, we thank you very much. Appreciate it. And we'll be talking about what's been a grim week for the Republican Party and looking forward to the major challenges facing the White House with three of the country's foremost political analysts and our newsmakers coming up. Turning now from Texas to Louisiana, where tonight there is new evidence that foreign workers, illegal aliens, many of them, are being hired for Gulf Coast reconstruction jobs that should be going to displaced Louisiana workers instead. This comes on the eve of an extraordinary vote in Congress that would reinstate the Davis-Bacon Act in the Gulf Coast and force employers to pay the prevailing wage to, of all people, American citizens. Lisa Sylvester reports.
Since Hurricane Katrina, there has been a significant inflow of Hispanic workers in New Orleans. Some may be legal, others are clearly not. Senator Mary Landrieu, in a letter to Homeland Security Chief Michael Chertoff, says she's received compelling evidence that U.S. immigration laws are being flagrantly disregarded in the contracting and subcontracting for Hurricane Katrina relief. Immigration and Customs Enforcement raided the Belle Chase Naval Facility Thursday and found at least 10 and as many as 150 illegal aliens working on the base. Louisiana workers say it's about time someone started looking into the background of the new arrivals.
And I'm tickled to death. I hope they start policing these jobs with more scrutiny than they've been in the past, and maybe our people can get back to work.
Union leader Tiger Hammond says a crew of 75 local electricians with Knight Enterprises were called to work at the Belle Chase base immediately after Katrina hit. But after 3 weeks, he says they were shoved aside, replaced with low-paid workers who spoke no English.
I could see my rank and file members that was on that job trying to make a good earnest living to rebuild their life, their homes, their future, their loved ones, everything. And to be asked to leave this job when they was already staying in their automobiles, what am I supposed to think?
Knight Enterprises general manager appeared on this network Tuesday night to complain of the shabby treatment. In response, the general contractor, BE&K, who fired his workers, called and, according to Al Knight, asked, "How can we make this all go away?" BE&K denies this charge. Knight says the problem is larger than one company. He points to the revoking of the Davis-Bacon Act by President Bush that guaranteed workers a prevailing wage.
That just opens up the door for people not to ask all of the proper questions and everything else that they need in order to hire a legal individual in this country. And that's what's going on. The same flood of folks, you're going to find them going from place to place no matter where this happens.
A BE&K spokeswoman maintains that none of its workers or subcontracted workers has been found to be in the country illegally, as of today at least. And the company adamantly denies replacing night workers with lower paid employees, adding the vast majority of their workers are from states impacted by the hurricanes. Lou?
Lisa, did BE&K say that they had checked to find out whether they were from other countries and here legally?
They say that they scrutinize and that they do a background check.
Well, I didn't ask about scrutinize and all of that because we all know what that's code for many companies to say we just did what is the least and perfunctorily and didn't even ask, because in many cases it's discriminatory, you know, to ask somebody their citizenship.
Well, when I talked to the BE&K spokeswoman, you know, she emphasized this one particular phrase, as of today. She even told me, you know, 5 minutes from now, it is possible that they could find out after the fact that some of their workers were in fact not in the country illegally, were in the country illegally. So they're trying to hedge this.
Did we find, excuse me, Lisa, did we find out how they came into contact and happened to hire these workers that replaced the people at night?
They're not sharing that information. They're citing privacy claims and the like. So at this point, Lou, your guess is as good as mine.
Well, we're going to do a little better, as we always do, than guess. We're going to find out. And we will be turning to you and all our colleagues to do just exactly that as we try to unravel what is exactly happening in the Gulf Coast as this administration has seen fit to roll back Davis-Bacon and suspend requirements for documentation for employees. Thank you very much, Lisa Sylvester. Reverend Jesse Jackson says he can give us proof that businesses are now hiring illegal aliens for Gulf Coast reconstruction. He has just returned from Louisiana. He says this is taking place because President Bush waived the Davis-Bacon Act. Jesse Jackson has, as I said, just returned. He's our guest here tonight. Jesse, first, thanks for being here on such short notice. I appreciate you being here. What did you see specifically in terms of the hiring and the use of illegal aliens?
First, you know, the weight should not be put on imported, exploited workers. When Mr. Bush suspended prevailing wages and environmental protections and veterans' preferences and preferences for displaced workers, it opened the door for these labor brokers to exploit workers. And I might add, they're not just from Central America, from Guatemala and Honduras and Salvador and Maquiladora, from as far away as Eastern Europe and Australia as well. There simply is no commitment at this point to pay prevailing wages and, in fact, to prioritize displaced citizens from the Gulf area.
Well, Jesse, in point of fact, did you actually see these companies bringing illegal aliens, these people in, accommodating, putting them to work?
I prefer the term, I do, undocumented workers rather than illegal aliens.
That's fine. Well, you use your word, I'll use mine.
In this case, you don't have people, I think, running across the borders in great numbers. They're being sent for and recruited by these companies, the same ones that got no-bid contracts rather than low-bid contracts. They feel now kind of open season on what I think exploitation. Many of these workers are working in hazardous environmental conditions without face masks, without proper gear. So in many ways they're being exploited and somewhat played off against displaced citizens, and that must not be allowed to happen.
By the way, you and I can argue about terminology here. I call them what they are. They're illegal aliens. You call them undocumented. In point of fact, they've got plenty of documents. They're just most of them fake.
But the point is
they're being exploited. These people are being exploited by employers who want to go for the cheapest possible labor.
They've been recruited and exploited and subjected to very hazardous conditions and very low wages. And it's unfair to them and unfair to the American workers.
The waiver of the Davis-Bacon Act, the waiver by this administration, the requirements for documentation. As you say, this is not really about the people themselves, the illegal aliens who've crossed the border illegally at the behest and for the purpose of exploitation by the employers. It's about an administration that, first of all, will not put forward a border security, will not put forward port security, will not enforce immigration laws, and employers who are just riotously, without conscience or concern for the national interest, exploiting these people by hiring them.
Well, actually, anti-labor and pro-rich tax cuts has become anti-poor. So it's open season on exploiting workers at the bottom of the economy. And I would hope that not only will we enforce the law, but those citizens those who do work must get paid and have health protections. I must understand that we have displaced people in 41 states around the country. There is no plan for them to return home live closer to home and have priorities on reconstruction of their own areas.
Is the city of New Orleans, what in the world is the city and Governor Blanco, the governor of Louisiana, what are they doing to help bring those people back so that they could participate in this reconstruction? As you said, I mean, incredibly, the delegation from Louisiana is perfectly fine with using $250 billion worth of taxpayer money, but say they just want the market to work here.
Well, Carl Rove is in charge of reconstruction. He is about as qualified for reconstruction as Mr. Brown was of FEMA. And his issue is political restructuring, not economic reconstruction. This is not a Karl Rove agenda. And to that extent, when his Secretary of HUD says that New Orleans will not become majority black again anytime soon, they will not rebuild a ninth ward, there's a bigger agenda here on political restructuring than fair economic reconstruction. And citizens who've been in this place are not the priority in the reconstruction as workers or as contractors.
Reverend Jesse Jackson, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Turning now to the top story of the evening, Hurricane Wilma. It is now a highly dangerous Category 4 storm. It is pounding the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. That hurricane is packing sustained winds of 140 miles an hour. Thousands of tourists, many of them American, are riding out this storm. They are tonight in shelters. Wilma is expected to smash into the Florida coast Monday now. Officials have already ordered some residents in the Naples area to evacuate their homes. For the latest on a storm that is slowly moving across the Yucatan, we go to Chad Myers at the CNN Hurricane Center. Chad, bring us up to date. Just how expansive is this storm? How dangerous is it in terms of intensity? And where do you expect it to move this evening?
Lou, there are thunderstorms in Savannah, Georgia from this storm. And it's Cancun, and that's a long flight. That outer band, the final outer band, is all the way up into Georgia now. The worst possible scenario is happening right now for Cancun and Cozumel. Destructive winds, 130 miles per hour, and a storm that looks like it just stopped. And then the winds are coming offshore, pounding Cozumel, and that's where the city is, on the west coast of the city. Winds there at 114 miles per hour. There's the radar, Lou, pounding Cancun, pounding Cozumel. The eye wall, the eye itself went right over the island, and then it stopped. And now it's going to have to pick up some speed. This is why it's going to take so long for it to go from Saturday to Sunday. An excruciating wait for the folks in southern Florida to see where the storm finally goes on its landfall, which is now projected for Monday afternoon. As a Category 1, 90 miles per hour, 80 miles per hour, but still, we know what a Category 1 did to Miami, which was Katrina, with 1.5 million people without power, 9 dead.
Absolutely. Yeah. But Category 1, just about the only good news you've got for us there, Chad. We'll take it. Thank you very much, Chad Myers from the CNN Hurricane Center. Still ahead here, the arraignment is now underway in the murder case of Pamela Vitale, wife of defense attorney Daniel Horowitz. We'll be going live to California for the very latest on this story as it develops. Also, Karl Rove and Louis Scooter Libby. Will these men be under indictment next week? Our newsmaker panelists will join us with their views on what is happening to the body politic. Stay with us.
Americans have always used their ingenuity and drive to build strong connections. From canals and railroads to bridges and highways, to telegraph, telephone, and television. Today we have an opportunity to build even stronger communications networks, to spur new investment, new jobs, and new video and entertainment choices. To get there, we must update our telecom laws to encourage market-based competition. A new world of opportunity is waiting. Market-based competition. It's the future. Faster.
I want to see Europe. I want financial freedom.
I want to find my A game.
I want proven success.
Get what you want with the power of the pyramid. Transamerica's experts offer tailor-made insurance, investment, and retirement solutions to help you achieve anything you want.
I want to feel the wind through my hair.
Well, almost anything. Transamerica, the power of the pyramid.
All of us have internal plumbing. But for some of us with frequent bladder urges, our pipes just don't work as well as they should. Sometimes you worry you could spring an embarrassing leak. So why deal with it on your own when there's something more you can do? Treat it once daily with Vesicare. Vesicare can reduce urges and may even help relieve bladder leakage. If you have certain types of stomach, urinary, or glaucoma problems, do not take Vesicare. While taking Vesicare, if you experience a serious allergic reaction, severe abdominal pain, or become constipated for 3 or more days, tell your doctor right away. Common side effects are dry mouth, constipation, blurred vision, and indigestion. So ask your doctor today if Vesicare is right for you. Fewer urges and leaks with Vesicare. Save $25 by calling now or visiting Vesicare.com for your free kit.
More now on what has been another difficult week for the White House and the Republican Party. The Harriet Miers nomination has gained little, if any, support and a great deal of opposition. And the White House is now awaiting a decision as to whether or not any of its staff members will be indicted in the CIA White House leak case. Joining me now are John Funn, he's columnist for the Wall Street Journal, Ed Rollins, political consultant, former presidential advisor from Boston Tonight, former presidential advisor, now professor of the Kennedy School of Government, David Gergen. Gentlemen, thanks for being here. Ed, let me turn to you first, because when we talked last week, it looked pretty bad. It doesn't look any better after this week, does it, for this White House?
It's been a terrible week. If anything, it looks like they have moved from the original charges to talking in terms of obstruction of justice or cover-ups or lying or what have you on Rove and Libby. And, you know, obviously we won't know until the special prosecutor comes forward, but the kinds of words that are being used certainly aren't helpful.
John Funn, you wrote this week about Harriet Miers. You had nothing good to add to the body of public knowledge about Harriet Miers, focusing on her role in the Lottery Commission and all the questions that arise from that. What is the fate of her nomination? How much is it affecting the fortunes of this White House?
Harriet's problem is that her record is so scant and the paper trail so non-existent that something fills a vacuum. So rather than have great debates about constitutional issues, and we can't really because we don't yet know if she has any views or what her views are, peripheral issues like the Lottery Commission, a scandal that she had down in Texas 10 years ago, which I think the Democrats in the Judiciary Committee are going to want to bring up.
Well, it looks like they're going to want to bring up a great deal.
I have an OpinionJournal.com piece right now which details all of the Democratic strategies to use these hearings to embarrass the Bush administration even more than they are now.
David Gergen, can this administration be more embarrassed than it is right now?
Yeah, we could still have indictments, Lou, and that's the big question, of course, hanging over. But there's a connection between the problem of potential indictments and Harriet Miers, and that is the distraction over the leak investigation. I think has contributed significantly to the clumsiness of how they've handled Harriet Miers. And now they're in a situation where both sides, both issues may go down on them. You know, if they get these I think they've got. We don't know if they're going to get the indictments, but if they come, that's going to be a big blow. And it strikes me that the Harriet Miers nomination is in such deep trouble, we're moving now toward a withdrawal.
Our White House correspondent, David Danabash, reporting for years from the White House, saying basically that the tension and the atmosphere is palpable at the White House. The lack of organization, the lack of focus moving forward, the tension there. She quoted one staffer, if I can paraphrase what she quoted, it ain't fun.
It can't. It's never fun, and Ed Rollins knows this so well too. We've been through a lot of wars together. In this situation, it's very tough going. You like to pretend that you go on with business as usual, but the truth is everybody's deeply worried. They're anxious. They have to start thinking about the future. They have to start thinking about a White House post Karl Rove. That's just unimaginable because he's been so central to this White House. You know, Karl Rove is George W. Bush's right arm, and it's very hard to climb out of a hole without your right arm.
Equally as important, equally as important to stay on this note. It's hard to fight on two fronts at the same time, and they're battling not well on both of these fronts. And they have to make a decision, I think. If they move forward and let her have these hearings, just as John has pointed out, and they don't think they're going to get this thing through, they got to get out of this thing before they start those hearings. They have 2 weeks of public hearings. They get bloodied. She then just can't withdraw. I mean, they got to make this decision this week. Is the support there to get her through, or is it not? And if not, then they basically better wave the white flag.
John Funn wants to say something, but if I may, John, let me just ask you to hold for 2 seconds. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to be right back with David Gergen, Ed Rollins, and John Funn. Stay with me.
Anderson Cooper. Your eyes, your ears, your connection. AC 360. Next.
No matter where you are or where you want to go in Oregon or anywhere in the USA, you deserve a simple health care plan that's there when you need it. You deserve Health Net Options Plus, featuring comprehensive coverage, including alternative care options. Choose any Medicare physician across the nation without a referral for only $53 a month. It really is that simple. Call now at 1-800-822-7698 and discover the flexibility of Health Net Options Plus. 1-800-822-7698.
Shopping for a new home? Did you know that in the time it takes you to drive to just one house, you could visit 100 without leaving your home? Coldwell Banker Barbara Sue Seal Properties introduces a better way to shop. Find your new home on TV or online, anytime. Hundreds and hundreds of dream homes are now just a click away. On Channel 15 or at cbseal.com. Coldwell Banker Barbara Sue Seal Properties. Discover the joy of home shopping from home.
Weekdays on CNBC, Ron and Sandra gets into the heart of the day's market action. Hardcore business from all the angles. What you could learn from how the pros make money. An insight that's uniquely wrong. Street Signs, weekdays on CNBC. Make it your business.
Street Signs, weekdays at 11 a.m. on CNBC is brought to you locally by
Pacific Continental. The Right Back.
Music Choice presents Trapped, live in concert. Check out modern rockers Trapped in this electrifying performance. Catch intense versions of Headstrong, Still Frame and Echo, as well as their current smash, Stand Up, from their latest release, Someone in Control. Don't miss Trapped in concert, brought to you by Music Choice.
Weather is the news. Trust CNN. It's essential.
How can one company help create stronger, lighter, safer, quieter vehicles and support research into new energy sources to run them? By using the right chemistry. Improving the things we all need is a great journey. And it's ours. Dow. Living. Improve daily.
Ms. Morrison, hi, I'm Clueless Frontman. Welcome.
So do your brokerage accounts have maintenance fees?
Maintenance fees, no.
Unless account balance falls below $200,000. What about inactivity fees?
Nope.
Minimum 30 trades per month, additional fees apply. Who is that?
Oh, that's Asterisk. Don't mind him.
Get serious. Get Brownco, where experienced investors don't pay maintenance fees or hidden charges. Brownco, a brokerage service of J.P. Morgan Asset Management.
The Wall Street Journal's John Funn thinks that the prospect of indictments may be a little overdone by the national media. John?
Well, the best legal minds believe that there was no underlying crime in the CIA leak investigation. The law either didn't apply or it's not going to be applied. So if it's conspiracy or perjury, those are charges that require an awful lot of evidence. What I'm hearing from the prosecutor's office is there's a lot of doubt, murky memories, murky notebooks. If a prosecutor is looking at that, he errs on not bringing indictments.
Do you concur, David?
I think John Funn has had some very good sources recently, and so I put a lot of weight in what he just said. But what we do know, I've never thought the underlying case was very strong, but I don't think we know enough about whether there's been perjury or somebody misled the FBI.
Well, if someone in this administration was stupid enough to try to cover up either through perjury or obstruction, they were not very good students or very good people, but certainly not very good students of history. David, let me ask you, all of this talk about what's happening in Washington, a bad week for the White House. American consumers are paying just about $3 a gallon for gasoline. The American middle class in this country is getting kicked while they're down. Tuitions continue to fly. Everywhere you turn, there is a problem for working men and women in this country, and I can't bring it upon myself to start, weeping at the travails of the Republican Party or the Democrats or anyone else, while the larger problems that face the greatest number of people, the backbone of the country, are going through all but unnoticed.
I agree with that. You've got a very good point, Lou, but remember this. These political struggles now having a dampening effect upon consumer sentiments. Consumer confidence now has dropped to the lowest level in a dozen years. What that could mean is a slowdown in the economy. It certainly has already been a slowdown in the investment community. So there's a ripple effect out of Washington. When you have a disabled president and things in this sort of miasma form, and there's a wait-and-see attitude in the investment community, that's not healthy for economic development and economic growth.
So for the good of the economy and working men and women, we shouldn't tolerate these kind of politicians probably in either party. Is that right, Ed?
Well, I think that's one of the frustrations the public has, is why they hold both the president and certainly the Congress in very low esteem.
29, as bad as the numbers are for President Bush, 29% approval rating for this Congress.
And 30% say the economy is the number one problem facing them today, not the war.
There are some things that could be done. The permanent tax cuts that the president wants should be adopted, because if we don't cut taxes, that will send a signal to the market that taxes are probably going up. And that is something that no market likes.
It may not be that a market likes it, but as I am one of those who believes that democracy makes capitalism and free markets possible rather than free markets make democracy possible, isn't it about time that, irrespective of your political views, gentlemen, isn't it about time we started talking about taking care of the people to make the country work? Isn't it about time we started talking about basic values?
We need to cut the deficit by having some spending cuts. And finally, some members of Congress are listening, finally.
But they couldn't get the 218 Republicans this week to basically go vote for the reconciliation.
If they don't, they're going to get into deeper trouble.
And they have to come together. They have to start talking.
David Gergen, if you can give us a quick last word, we'll call that even.
Clean up the mess in Washington. The economy will also get stronger from that.
Amen, brother. David Gergen, thank you very much. Ed Rollins, John Fund. Gentlemen, thank you. Look forward to talking to you soon. The results of our poll tonight. 90% of you say sanctuary laws that prevent the apprehension of illegal aliens should be abolished. 10% disagree. Thanks for being with us tonight. Please join us next week. Have a great weekend. Anderson Cooper 360 starts right now. Anderson?
Good evening, live from Naples, Florida. Bracing for Hurricane Wilma, the monster Category 4 storm pounding Mexico and heading this way. 360 starts now.
Fierce winds and plenty of fury.
You can see the waves again crashing over here, many of them going up about 20 feet.
Hurricane Wilma batters northeastern Mexico. He's